right, sick, sick, sick. So,
Awesome.
today we're going to go over some of your. Actually, which one did you want to start with? We were going to go over some of your blacklisted sets from literally last week. Man, Moto's rad.
Yeah. Already going to another major too. Pff,
Yeah,
I
you're,
think that
you're in an airport right now.
correct. I am.
Damn.
Anyways, I think that we can just like quickly go over this set. There wasn't really much that I had to talk about this, honestly.
Yeah. You had
I
mentioned
felt like
you felt really confident in this one, right?
yeah, I basically took what Boyko had given me advice for after he beat me up in friendlies, and then I applied that to this game. Touched up my punish game, played a lot more grounded with dash dancing, and then it never felt close after that.
Gotcha. I think the biggest thing I want to look at during this game is how grounded you are, actually. It's interesting you brought that up. Because
Mhm.
in your set with the Doctor, he plays Mario in a very interesting way, I feel, where he's very airborne. And you have to really, kind of like Bagels, but his character has good ground game, so it's weird. But where he doesn't, you kind of gotta like get him to the ground before you can really like convince him to play the left right quite as much.
Mm.
But I, with that in mind, I do want to go through this set kind of with that on the focus of how much you jump, how much you stay grounded, how much you play left right, how good you are at playing against their left right, etc.
Mm.
So let's go ahead and just hop in. Excuse me. Yeah, I didn't know Emu Killer was playing Zero Suit. I guess she's just one of those
Yeah,
characters like Meta Knight where it's like she's just really good.
yeah. He's one of the New Yorkers that are all just switching over pretty much. New York, New Jersey.
Ooh, nice. That
Thank
is,
you.
yeah, that's a really big, not even a knowledge check, but just if they don't tech that, that's a really big concern because then they just die.
Yeah,
That magnet's a DI mix-up, right? Like you can DI away to get out of that.
yes. Or not necessarily DI away, but if he DIs up there, then it's tough for me to get the back air, and even if he survives, he's not exactly at the best percent to me to be able to die off the bear basically on this stage.
Gotcha.
I think he was just trying to get out of the combo extension.
Yeah, because usually just the DI away is the default get me out of the combo button.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, between your set, what I've been seeing in your set here, and then
Yeah.
you love. Sometimes it just happens. Um, Between, I'll talk about that real quick. But between what I've been seeing in the first game here, and then your set against the Doctor, I actually really like your PK fire usage. Just as a like check for like, hey, don't approach me like this at this timing. I think that I'll bring this up more in the Doctor set, but I think that because that's working, you can kind of cash that in on the fact that they're not going to be. Here, let me actually back up a little more to where you're actually throwing it. That way I don't have to draw more awful little MS Paint doodles. Actually, okay, here, perfect. So because you're covering this angle, this is a big no-no zone. They're not going to want to be like in this path. So that's by default going to push them either up here or to basically run you down here. Even though you have even though you don't have a ton of lag when you land, you are on the back foot. I think your fastest thing that'd be good to mash here would probably be down tilt, and it's not the best in all situations. So you set this situation up very consistently, and it's a very strong situation. But like with the Doctor, when he occupies this space right here, it didn't seem like you were 100% willing to like go up there to meet him. And part of that is character specific because Mario between fireballs and Dare isn't super high reward usually, but like it's hard to contest. That's a very comfortable position for him. So that might be something we can look at. kind of again in the same nature of that strike grab thing. He can't shield up there. He can only actively defend himself. So if you mix up your timings or your angles, those are your two biggest tools for characters that you can't just out hitbox with fair. And even then, the risk reward on fair might not be as great as like calling out a timing and getting a dare tech chase or a dare reset. Like we already first stock was he died at what 80 maybe.
Yeah.
So even if there's a time and a place for maybe the like lower risk, lower reward forward air, and that let me get rid of this lower risk, lower reward forward air to kind of like match them in the air. And there's a time and the place for the kind of higher risk, higher reward. Maybe like come up here with a down air or neutral air to catch drift away, or things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just all about the PK fires knocking them to that position very frequently. I just as a floaty main, it makes me happy in my soul.
Yeah.
Your SDI here was actually unfortunate. It's a lot of SDI, so good job on that. But it makes it makes this a lot easier because Emu doesn't have to like time it. He can definitely get the strong hit. But yeah, what is okay? So he's just waiting to get down. Okay, that is. I want to point out this juggle situation comes up a lot in your games with Envy and the Doctor, where up air doesn't tumble, but it can like soft confirm into more up airs unless they take some kind of risky action. And it also becomes the mix-up between up air and down air. So aside from that, for this first one, this one could be up air or down air, but I don't believe it actually sends to the down air sends to the tumble yet. So it might have been better. Yeah, I think it'd be better here then to guarantee that grounded stun to down air. And then from here, the opponent is less actionable. Gosh. Mm-hmm. Rather than them having the tech opportunity here.
Yeah.
Because then this dare will pop them up. They'll be grounded for it. And it can be a much... You can also be, against fast fallers, it can be obviously an up throw, which is a better combo starter at this percent than pop-up dare.
Yeah.
Or it could be, a down throw. Like, it's a lot more versatile, too, in addition to being a little more confirmed.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's kind of an optimization, though. It's especially for this game. It's not like a huge deal. It's just something that will, against those players that are really comfy with a lot of the nest stuff. Like when up air won't actually tech, they won't tech, or won't tumble, they won't tech. It's just going to be a little easier to get your big openings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this SD.
I mean, SD's
I accidentally turned around. Yeah.
And the Magna stuff that specific thing might not be super hard, but there's a lot of factors you've got to worry about. So, don't stress it too much. Okay. That's something that comes up a lot in your sets. Probably just a nest thing, because dare is so amazing. You get those tech chase situations super frequently, and that gives you the opportunity to get into to start playing that more like, I don't want to say numbers game, but the more enclosed situation of like, oh, your options are A, B, C, D, or a weirdo option like E, like delay or something, which can give you data on like, oh, like back when I played him fairly frequently, Switch loved to tech in place a lot. And that data comes up because, well, I was dropping my combos a lot. But for Ness, that can be a thing you just do. Excuse me. If you don't have the opportunity to kind of get bigger combos in those positions.
Yeah.
And those same habits can bleed over into other things. So, spacey example, but Players that frequently tech and play spot dodge also frequently tech and play shine. Or spot dodge shine. Part of that is because it's good, but also that can kind of like be a correlation more than a box. But you know, getting back to pushing buttons faster, contesting things directly, so like it's an easier example with Marth, but contesting things directly might be a Marth that swings their sword. Let me let this zoom out a little bit. A Marth that swings their sword at their opponent instead of where their opponent could threaten them. So like,
yeah,
if this is Marth, right, and
mm-hmm.
someone's running in, this kind of box or like correlation might be, oh, they're swinging at the opponent versus, oh, they're maybe they're waiting until they get closer to try to bait out a defensive option or something. And it's I do want to stress it is very much a correlation rather than the box kind of like stereotype thing.
Yeah.
But it is still information you can use and you can cash in when you need it. Okay. Tech chase on the plat. Oh yeah, those two hit ones.
Yeah. So many get up attacks are just one hit that or like not two hits on both sides that I just didn't expect it at all.
Yeah, I wish that was standardized, but or at least that the window to punish was standardized for two hits, but it's a minor thing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's that 3.6 SDI to get out of forward air. Okay. He's DIing away the back air now, even at low percent. I like going for the EX fires there because you may not have noticed. You going for EX fire, even though there's nothing that's happening, Emu is running forward and kind of like having to take these defensive options in case it comes out. Because from this frame to where he would have to shield it, he can't tell if it's perfect or not. Especially if he doesn't play Ness. Speaking for people that don't play Ness, I don't know if this is 1 or 5 frames off. It seems close enough to worry about though. So that's
definitely.
why you see this flickering shield, and even though you can't directly punish him, that has killed his momentum. Zero Suit has pretty good aerial drift, but not like most characters out of shield aren't going to be able to approach from this distance unless they're like Puff or something or Wario with their out of shield drift alone.
Yeah.
Normally you have the running short hop, whether it's Falcon, Fox, Zero Suit, whoever. Even Falcon and Zero Suit have pretty good aerial drift. Like, there's not a lot of mix-ups if they jump out here. You get like probably Nair or Tomahawk or maybe double jump, use the platform in some capacity, but at that point that's using something else that isn't their aerial drift.
Yeah.
So even though this didn't even come out, and it kills his approach because he has to assume it will. Because if he runs into it, he's stuck in shield. Even if he CC shields it, he's stuck in shield in PK fire or getting hit by it directly if he's not ready for it.
I tend to like EX Fire because of that. Oftentimes, even though I know that it's not going to come out, like, basically once I throw the PK Fire, I already know the fact that I'm consistent enough at it means that they kind of have to respect it regardless of whether it comes out, and I use that to my advantage a lot, especially versus more for missing it.
I think you cut off for a little bit there. Use that to your advantage, especially against who?
Against defensive players who aren't prone to try and run me down.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. Because
yeah,
it'll kind of hit that part in their brain where it's like, oh, I don't want to get hit by PK Fire. I should shield. And then that's not incorrect. PK Fire is really bad to like let proc. Yeah, like right there. You got 20 some odd percent and the shield pressure. Even on the counterplay of CC shield once Emu got hit by it.
Yeah.
So it's a really scary thing to like interact with. Like that was the best case scenario, and that's still not great. Yeah, there's the mix-up.
By chance, do you know the refresh rate for PK Fire off the top of your head?
I definitely don't. I
Okay.
assume you can't CC grab in between. It feels faster than that.
Definitely can't do that. I was wondering if CSS can do like a CC up tilt, or like if a DK or a Link can do a CC up B or something like that.
Uh, for CC up moves, I would I would assume I would just not count. Like I just wouldn't worry about them because they're so weird. Even with tilt stick, it's like a weird habit. Because most characters don't have CC up smash, so it's not even a habit that is going to transfer from smash stick. And if now people start doing CC up tilt or something like, and it becomes an issue, then definitely like something to worry about. But I think let people prove you wrong first because it's a little much to worry about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think Link's up B is actually super fast. I think it's just really strong, so people are rightfully afraid of it.
Isn't it like frame 3 though?
Is it frame
I thought it
three?
was.
I'm not the frame data person, so I'm not sure, but it doesn't
Okay.
feel quite that fast.
I can do a quick check right now while we're between games.
Sure, yeah. I don't know if DK up B probably wouldn't be threatening at that even if it hits that fast, it wouldn't be threatening on that hitbox because the over his shoulder hitbox is the strong one, and he'd still be
Yeah.
stuck in PK fire. And I don't. Again, it's one of those. Let someone prove you wrong before you like waste focus and energy on it. If somebody can CC up B with DK in between ever hit a PK fire, you know what? Maybe they deserve it. Maybe we just leave that alone for a while. Maybe CC jab, but they're still stuck in fire. You get hit by jab and you just go on with your life. Like
Yeah.
CC shine is
Okay.
big. Go ahead.
Okay. I was definitely mixing up B with Nair. His up B comes out like frame 8.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
Or maybe I was mixing it up with DK up B. I don't know.
DK shoulder hitbox might come out for M3. That thing's strong and fast. Especially for Mewtwo, a lot of Mewtwo players who like to do hover and air will get really like familiar with where characters are good out of shield. The obvious one is shield grab is scary. I don't want to be in front of that. And then
Yeah.
a lot of characters can't cover this super well. But I learned very quickly playing Thomas that nope, don't go there, don't go there. That's a bad place to be.
Yeah.
All right, so game 3. Actually, I want to see how you use the plats here, because especially with the kind of the verticality that I had mentioned earlier, I think that's something, at least against the Doctor, with the way he plays, that you can implement.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see if platforms. That could have been. Honestly, that could have been an SD, but it worked out. Like a few
Honestly,
more frames.
it wouldn't have eaten it until like at least like another second, I think.
Oh, it lasts that long now?
Yeah, it lasts till like frame 33 or 34 or something.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. It's really neat.
Ooh. Even if he didn't die there, you took his tether twice.
Yeah.
That was really, really good timing on the magnet, especially. Because you get that hitbox out there and you grab ledge. Most characters have to pick one.
Yeah, I really like magnet ledge grabs in general, just because it's so good for refreshing situations and putting me on ledge so that I can like immediately get the invincibility if I want to do something like that bear or a drop down nair or something.
Mm-hmm. I like
It's
your
good.
recoveries too. Your willingness to go high makes it really awkward. Because like, even for fast characters, like this position is just weird. Like, yeah, there's obviously some telegraph to it because it's a physics object, but especially when it's off screen, you know where you're going and they don't.
Yeah.
And at 0, it's not a huge deal, but it is. PK Thunder 2 is beefy enough to worry about directly contesting. Okay. Like it's
Yeah.
one of those like 130 on Wario. If that's how you go, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Nice regrab. Was
I
that
missed
supposed to
my
be
dash
a?
there.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to ask.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure if you were trying to like catch an option or something, or if you just made a tiny error.
Yeah, there's not too many options I can go out of that specific down throw off stage, especially since I'm not that great with pivot F smash.
Ooh.
So like pretty much the only thing that I have there is mag into something, generally mag dare or mag nair.
Off of. Let me back up again to that situation. So off of this one, I mean, you can
Yeah, you
enforce.
can actually
Go ahead.
you can get a pretty tight pivot F smash out of that. I actually labbed it around that percent.
No, no. I mean, you can.
Oh,
This might be a little like low hanging fruit, but you can enforce the forward air mix up here
true.
of just not even for consistency's sake, but if if you forward air and they don't want to deal with like the dare nair post forward air shenanigans, then they di away on forward air or maybe into you, but
Yeah.
you can shield stop forward air instead of dashing. I still think there's a DI mix up here with forward air and like nair that I think might be worth doing in situations where you're like a little nervous, if nothing else, just to kind of something that's a little easier.
Okay. I'll
Because
keep that in mind in the future.
like having really good options is great, obviously, but sometimes just taking something a little simpler frees up more of your kind of. It gives you more room to breathe. Both like one, you can't really significantly mess it up as much as like dashing short hop magnet turnaround bear. Then don't DJC too early or too late because then you might not make it back or might be a hard angle. As opposed to just hey forward air nair or like hey just nair or maybe dare. Like it's the magnet is definitely better and you have more options to take it further. But there's a time and a place for just okay, I just need the break real quick, right? I just need a minute. This dude behind me's yelling, or my heart is pounding out of my chest. There's gives you a little like small breather, especially for characters that you can't really like. You need to really be on point to actively edgeguard, like Zero Suit.
Yeah.
Like if they're at 20 and you don't need to make some huge comeback, but you do need just a minute, just a second, it might be worth just covering their on stage better and then letting them have ledge and just not going out into that stressful situation for a second.
Yeah.
That's what characters do against Ness a lot too. Like, especially when you're up there in that corner, right? It's like, oh yeah, there's a world where Zero Suit comes up here and hits you and kills you. There's a world where it gets hit by PK Thunder 2 for 30%, and now Ness gets down for free, not even with punish or even at least pressure, but. A lot of that is a little character specific.
Yeah.
And especially at your level, like you're gonna know also on a personal level, you're gonna know what you're like what you could do blindfolded and what is gonna be a little iffier in the like sets. I just think it's an angle to look at your decision making from. Okay. I love Magnet. It's now that I understand it a little better. It's such an interesting move. Okay, there's the dare. Question: why did
I was actually
go ahead?
Oh, you go ahead.
Why did you do this down tilt here? The first down tilt after this down air.
So one thing about that grab dare that makes it not guaranteed is that if they immediately spot dodge, I can't actually get another grab, which is generally what my main option is. Since I've been doing that, I basically thought he won't expect the down tilt, and I can probably convert a lot more off of it, and I think that I did, but I don't remember.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, so I guess I understand. So if they're just CCing buffering spot dodge, you can punish the spot dodge on the dare or on the down tilt here.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, because this is if you're buffering spot dodge anyway, there's no reason not to CC at the percents where this is relevant. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't commit to anything huge, but here when you can see that they pop up, you go, oh, okay, now they go through the landing yeah, these inactionable landing animations. Frame 4 of that, where you can shield, now you get grabbed. And spot dodge is frame 2,
Yeah.
so that's guaranteed. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, sick. Thank you for
I missed
explaining that for me. It's fine. It's
Of
fine.
course. I actually was really proud of that specific mix-up to try and catch that because a lot of people have started doing that recently as soon as they find out.
Oh, the buffered spot dodge?
Yeah.
Yeah, people do not want to deal with mess down throws.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. It's a good move. Man, I remember back in like 2015 when nest down throw was like an infinite because we were, or at least in me and my group, we were all so bad. Okay, yeah.
That was a really tight edge guard from him.
Yeah. It was a fun one to see. Good weight. Okay, good.
And
this
then
is... As soon as I saw this start to happen, I was going to bring it up if you missed the tech chase, but you got it.
Yeah.
The timing to catch these is really important. And that's something that in a set that is more comfortable, like you're up 2-0, this is last hit, you're like JV3, like you're comfortable lead. It's not like you're not super jittery for the most part, so that's a lot easier to stay calm and just wait out the fraction of a second you need there.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember if I brought it up before, but it's a very common like nerves error when things are getting tense. People will tech chase too early. And like as an example, it's like they will do this down air unfortunately at this exact timing. So it'll go through the invuln and now they'll be stuck here. And it's not just a nest thing, it's like a character thing. Sometimes it's especially for scoop characters like Falcon Up Air, sometimes it's like, oh, I want to hit them before they land, and then it's just like, oh, it's a decision and or tech error, that's fine. But when nerves are high and tensions are tense, this is quality content, by the way. Tensions are tense. This is something that goes not first, but something that kind of slips under the radar a lot is like jumping the gun on the tech chase a little bit, especially with plats, because it's easier to see that situation in plats and you can move up from below them. So you usually have your options are either faster, airborne, or more consistent and easier to execute than grounded tech chasing. So it didn't come up here, but this is something to kind of be aware of for kind of those higher tense moments, is that it might help you to know the numbers. I don't know the numbers, but you have X frames to cover tech in place, especially with DJCs, right? With DJCs, if you're here, a little higher up, I think it's actually what you do, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. So if you're a little above them, you can, you even DJC this, perfect.
Yeah.
So this can give you just enough momentum to hit over here with back air, to hit over here with down air, or to just do nothing and hit with down air here. So this is, so long as you stay calm and cover tech in place, as you prime yourself to cover tech in place, everything else is fine here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you know that, but it's something that goes away with nerves. Mm-hmm. Especially for other characters. So like Ness has a little easier time of it because of the DJC, but
yeah,
something to kind of keep in mind for those moments when you need the one more hit, right?
Mm-hmm. So maybe in those situations, don't try and go for like stall right above their get up attack with magnet and then like try and catch the tech roll with DJC or something like that. Maybe if I'm gonna be a bit more nervous, something that I find is a lot more consistent is just like waveland onto plat and then either get a detilt or a grab from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because detailed is good at any percent they're not CCing. It'll be that confirm at high percent. It'll be, grab at low percent. And it's just a safer thing that's like, it's harder to mess up. So it's one less thing you have to worry about. Because if you're like with this down throw, right? Let's not say they're at 100, but let's say it's like last stock, you're both at 30, it's game 5 and grand finals, and you're in the loser's bracket. You need this reset, right? You need three more lives. Sometimes it's super worth to just go like, you know what? I don't want to SD like this. I don't think I will, but I gotta 100% of my focus is going to what is my opponent going to do? How does the our percents, how does the stage, how does the matchup change what we're gonna do? Let me just do like down throw fair or down throw nair rather than down throw, quick dash, short hop, magnet, turnaround, not be reverse magnet, magnet turnaround, and then bear. Even if that won't, like, especially if that won't even kill, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, though, there are some times where even if you're hella nervous, you do need to do that. So let's say
Yeah.
same game count even, right? Your losers had a grand last game. You're on last stock at 80. They're on second to last stock at 20. Sometimes you gotta just go for it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can't just keep taking the safe option. There's for card games specific, competitive card games specifically, there is a kind of train of thought that I think is very interesting of like especially with the different like archetypes of decks and like ways to play the game. If you're playing a deck that wins between turns 1 and 5 and they're playing a deck that wins if they get to turn 6, at turn 5 you have to assume that they don't have the thing that lets them win. Because if you keep playing the safe option forever, then that is, even if it's a 50-50 odds versus, or even a 50% chance of being correct versus a 30% chance of being correct, it's a skewed reward. So let's say this is this is same situation. You're on last stock, very high percent on Wario even, let's say, and they're at like third stock, low percent. If this is fancy stuff, right? Or I got this backwards. If this is safe option, the safe easy option that gets you 40% and 0% chance of like getting hurt for it, and this is the fancy they'll die if they do something wrong option, then sometimes you just need to take the one that's less likely to work but more likely to win you the game.
Yeah.
So if this reward is, this reward gets you, that's a bad color, gets you, plus 40% and nothing else, there's not even like a threat of anything else, but you're still in this awful position. Sometimes it's not even rolling the dice, but sometimes you just need to be riskier.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of thing with nerves, right? Where part of that is because yes, the nerves will play a factor in the riskier situations, but also sometimes you just, even if there's an opportunity for you to get a kill and win the set, if that opportunity also opens you up to losing, and that's kind of getting in your head, your heart is beating faster than like it should, it might be worth it to just slow it down for a minute. It's a very complicated kind of decision though, because they're obvious, especially if it's like, last hit, last game, they're feeling the same thing. So you can't do this all during a match, but you can use one or two of these to be like, oh, like pros and cons, right? So pros of pushing are maybe, oh, they're playing really shaky. I need to push my advantage. I need to keep them on the back foot. Even if I'm nervous too, they're more nervous. Maybe the cons is, oh, I'm shaky. I barely got this turnaround. I got this dare out of a combo. I got like a back air, they're off stage. Maybe they're zero suit, or like they're a character that could reversal edgeguard me. I'm just gonna leave them. I'm gonna take what I want. I'm gonna take my time and just use that for me. But like I was saying, this is not something you can run the full gamut of during a match, let alone like as you're playing a match. So it's the big advantage of this is knowing like the personal stuff. So like, oh, like if I know that I'm shaky, I'm going to not push my advantage. Or I know that I'm playing hot right now. Like numbers aside, right? I'm playing really well, and maybe I'm gonna keep pushing it, because if I slow down, especially with faster characters, if I slow down, I run the risk of not being able to start that engine again. That's why Partially because Captain Falcon, but I think that's also why you see a lot of Captain Falcon players and Spaceys and fast characters will kind of, when they get when Falcon gets a down air tech chase, they 90% of the time they will try to convert that into the stock. Again, because that's a good thing to do, of course, but also because it's a momentum thing. It's a lot easier to tech chase somebody or to mix up their DI when they're still going like, oh shit, I got hit by down air. Oh shit leads to panic, which leads to habits. And habits are predictable because they are habits. But not panics. It leads to panic. I think I mentioned this before, but I will be brief, but just the habits can be character specific, like, yeah, Fox is going to spot dodge Shine. Or player specific, like, oh, this Luigi player is going to really like spot dodging in neutral. And that's where you can cash in your observations. Good news is the longer the set is, right, the more observations, the more info you have.
Yeah.
And especially if you haven't really killed, let's say Bagels, right? If Bagels loves jumping up here and like doing down air as just a way to like bully you in the corner when you're at the percent where it'll kill, especially. So if you haven't hit him for that, let alone like hit him big for that all game, all set, and it's game 5, there's a high chance he just goes back to this because this has been working. This is something he's been doing a lot, and he hasn't been hit for it. Versus if you have a different set where Bagels has been doing this in the to pressure people in the corner a lot, but been getting hit for it a lot, he's less likely to do it. So in that same game pipe situation, he's more aware of I could die if I do this because I've been hit for doing this. So he's less likely to do it. And I know that probably sounds really obvious and stupid the way I put it, but it's
yeah.
It's something to kind of think about, especially if you're like researching, like, let's say Blue, right? Or Frost or whoever's in your path. It can be, like, it's very easy with big moves. Like Link up out of shield. Every time Link up out of shield, somebody gets hit.
I will say one thing. We should finish up on this point because we've been here for 15 minutes.
Thank you. Right,
no problem.
Thank you for letting me. You want to go over the Doctor set, the Switch set, or the Envy set first?
I guess let's go chronological with the Doctor.
Gotcha. All right.
I'm not too worried on time. I have like 2 hours, 15 minutes before boarding.
Gotcha, but I do appreciate you kind of like reality checking me on the clock.
All right. Awesome. I just want to make sure and that it's cool with you.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so first things first. I just talked about Luigi doing this. This is something that Kevin does a lot too. He does this rising dare. And it actually lasts so long that you still get clipped by this. And even though it doesn't... Actually, this might be close to a true combo if that was like a really late hit. But even though this is... You're still in hits, so good lord. Okay, never mind. This is a good thing to do. I didn't frame by frame this before. So all of that was from getting clipped by that rising dare. So 58% off of that rising dare. Because you were just a teeny bit too close. And all of a sudden, boom, Mario time. So that is partially because it works so much, and partially because that's something that he just defaults to a lot. That's a big Kevin thing. That's a big... I say Kevin a lot, not because I know him super well, but because there is a Doctor who plays Zelda, and there is the Doctor who plays Mario. And even if everyone knows I'm not talking about the Zelda player who's not on screen, it bugs me. So that's something that he does a lot, because the numbers on it are good, like most things that top players do, but also because it is really good space coverage. This is something that Ness, you either have to like contest on, like I mentioned before, you contest on timing, which you were only slightly off here. You barely get clipped by the end of this, or you can test on spacing. So spacing might be, your forward air from further away, because he can't contest that space in front of him where this yellow is very easily. Or it might be, you know, coming up here and doing yo-yo. It might be going down there and doing maybe like a short hop up air or up tilt. I'm not sure on the hitboxes for these two moves, but going to the same place at the time he's doing something and contesting it directly, or going closer at a timing he's not doing something. So maybe dash under, wait an iota, and then jump, or maybe just throw off your aerial timing a little bit. This is because jumping is involved. It's a little more complex than just the dash dance game, because characters have access to aerials as opposed to just like the short hop aerials. They have full hops. The characters are floatier. He can do this dare into nair. He can do the dare into up air, and those might lose a run up shield, but you have to kind of make them lose to run up shield. So this is something that's going to come up a ton during this set. And actually, this might be something that you and or the character kind of have an issue with, because Bagels does this a lot too, out of necessity, because Luigi's not the best at playing the like precision left-right game because of his character attributes. So this might be something that's worth this kind of style, like, oh, how do I approach this airborne opponent that's defending their space? I think it's going to be worth looking into for this weekend. Okay, so we get to the hit on you. And then, yeah, again, Mario. So part of that is he's going up there because he's Mario, and his fireballs are good, even if you can absorb them. But it is also a space that is difficult for for most characters to contest. And because of that, it becomes very high reward. Yeah, but now that you're at kill percent, he'll just start enforcing the kill button in neutral and catches you on left-right a little bit, and you die a little early.
Yeah.
And to an extent, that's going to happen sometimes. This is really good. Even though, like, obviously he could still directly punish you there too, but like you don't die at 10. That's always a good day.
100%.
That hit so late.
Ooh.
This is one of those where, like, on paper, yeah, you missed a tech and died for it, but this fair hit, like, the last... I don't think I've seen that active frame hit. You know what I mean? Because of the platform moving to the right... This is a little too slow. You get a little further than normal. So this misses you. And then you get clipped by some, like, armpit interpolation hitbox. So not only does he get the spike, he gets the spike, or the meteor, at a later timing. So it's another one of those things. It's like, yes, you could have teched, but it's not like a fair thing to expect. It was a wonky situation, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, a really good example of what we were just talking about. So, Esnes, against a character that can turn you around, you understand how dead you are here.
Yeah.
But, for some reason, one of the best players in the world doesn't go for it. Because numbers-wise, if he tries to intercept this, he could die if he messes up. Or if you're a little trickier with the orb. So even if he gets this, and he, the four stock begins, everyone from NorCal starts like cheering, it's happening, .jpg. The risk is lower than the reward, but he doesn't need to lose that momentum. He doesn't need to make a comeback. So he can just chill. He tries once, instead gets to punish. He gets 30% instead. And I think he would absolutely do that again in that position.
That's the second time I've gotten that specific turnaround when I'm trying to grab ledge.
Where was the... Do you think does the pill mess you up here? It doesn't turn you around on its own, does it?
Doesn't.
Okay. That might be something worth just kind of... Yeah, and sometimes you just... you tech chase. That might be something worth, like, just refreshing a little bit on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. Obviously, you never want to be in this position of 3 stocks to 1, but at the same time, if you change your perspective a little bit, this can be a little freeing. Because, like what we were saying before, right? Kevin's not going to take as many risks, because if he loses the momentum, that's really bad. That's one of the only ways he loses this game is if he, like, SDs or, like, You kill him at 30 with PK Thunder 2 when he misses Cape, right? And then it's still an uphill battle, but now it's an uphill battle and you hit him. So he's going to play very conservatively, very safely. And on the flip side, because the deficit is large, and especially because it's game 1.
Yeah, I believe I remember, like, during this, I felt, like, pretty calm because it was like, okay, it's 3 stocks to 1. Let's try and get as much information as I can, and then, like, just see where I go from here.
Exactly. You can just kind of
Yeah.
do stuff. That's because the risk of doing the safe thing long term and the risk of doing the unsafe thing long term are like super close. There might be like there might be a chance if you do the safe thing really really well for like 5 minutes straight, you win the game. But on the other hand, that's really unlikely. Like difficulty aside, that consistency is very very hard to come by. Especially with a character like Mario, and where one, if you have to recover, there's an 80% chance you just die. Because if you start making that comeback, then he's going to be like, oh, I have to go out there for the cape, and he's not going out, he's not staying on stage because he's necessarily directly afraid, but because like, oh, I don't need to do this, and I could die. So if he has to do it, there's a pretty good chance he just he capes you, and you go off blasting again like Team Rocket.
Yeah.
So this is a little, like you're saying, it's a very calming, freeing position. You can just do stuff, see what works, get some info. Very low stakes, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Something I want to point out is that you absorb his fireballs for all the time, and he keeps throwing them. Because, especially for Mario, like, you being 10% lower, you being at 20 instead of 30 doesn't matter. Like, if you can get 2, or if he's not following up on that positioning that he gets, then that's a big deal. But here, he's giving you the percent willingly, because when you absorb this, let me back this up a little bit. Where's the pill? There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll circle this real quick. So, bonk. Here's the pill, right? If you run forward to absorb this, he's gonna do this. He's gonna jump fireball either way, right? If you run forward to absorb it, the second one is not pressuring you. You either absorb it and get hit, or you don't absorb it, and you now have to deal with this one super close to you where you can't move past it because it's like down here by this time. By the time you can like move out of the way. So he's giving you the like 11, 12% willingly because he's putting you in an overall worse position, even with your percentage change.
Huh.
So here, you heal this, right? And then this fireball is coming out. You do have an option because you're absorbing it here. You could go this way, but that's not something that NES players do frequently. There's a habit because it's good of magnet, turnaround, and then fade away bear because it's much harder to punish than fair. And NES players almost always you have that curve, right? Of like oh my, like let's say if this is the skill level curve, right? You have how good fair is and how frequently you use it. Definitely starts out high and ends up somewhere lower, somewhere around here.
Mm-hmm.
Because you start getting killed for it as you play better players and as you play players to get more used to it. Fair becomes a worse idea. So because of that, a lot of NESs by default aren't as comfortable doing this like magnet into like approach because you can't back air as easily. You can't say safe with your aerial here. So watching this again, he does this fade forward fireball because if you back up, it puts you in a bad spot. And if you go under him, fine, you healed 11%. Cool. You're still at down throw percent. You're still at up air being really good percent. You're always at up air being really good percent, but it's like the same thing with NES. There's a percent where down air is like not quite as good when it starts tumbling, and then there's a percent where it's like it's still really good at that percent even. So here I'll get just the situation, then we'll go forward. So he does this willingly because like 11% whatever. And then in this case, you even get hit by, you kind of get stuck by that fireball. You take most of it back anyway. So it becomes a... He's willing to just give up the percent to take the stage, to take the opportunities that you give him when you absorb that. All right. I don't know if I really like this stage in this matchup against Kevin. Not sure about Mario, but at least against Kevin. Because he's using that vertical space frequently. One fun game we can... Not a game we can play, but like... Try to take note of how little he's actually using grounded attacks here. He did like a few dash attacks outside of punish situations. For like neutral, he's almost not even using grounded moves. Using a lot of fireballs, a lot of... That was a slick pivot.
Thank you. Ah, that would have been stock if I got that bear.
Oh, he's at 100 after soft bear, yeah.
Yeah.
Soft bear does 10%?
Anti-DI'd out.
Good lord. Oh, he might have been expecting the second dare. Interesting. But here, he's using a lot... Oh, no! Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it just happens. That's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're at 110. It's fine. Like, you don't want it to happen again, of course, but, like, it's one of those things, like, it'll just happen sometimes. Like, he tried to fireball you when you're invincible. Sometimes it just happens. But for a lot of his threats are either aerial moves directly or aerial moves with the aerial mobility to threaten like a down tilt or like an up tilt there, right? That was probably a messed up shield drop even. He's not even enforcing grab a ton. He's mainly converting into grab off of other like stagger openings. That's an important punish. Not only because I don't think he gets a ton out of that of smash compared to his other options either, but you wiggled out of the tumble. So instead of this being a tech chase kind of like meteor knock-up like he had already used earlier in this game, this was DJC, but point stands. You get out of the tumble, and now instead of this being a tech chase, this is a mistake. You have forced an error in this way. And then, also importantly, you have killed him for it with that down air into like pretty much guaranteed death at that down air.
Yeah.
So I don't remember if it comes up in the rest of this set. Again, really, really good angle. I don't remember if it comes up in the rest of the set, but as a kind of, now that you've not only hit him strongly, but you forced an error and killed him for it, he's going to be a lot more aware of like, oh, she can kill me if she blocks up smash, and she's ready to kill me. It's happened before. Okay, this kind of fireball I think is super good to absorb. And this is also one reason why he stays airborne so much, because if he commits to a move here, he can't chase the fireball in. Even on the ground, he has a hard time chasing the fireball in. So this is just 11, 12%, not for free, but he can't really threaten you for. And that 11, 12% saved you.
Yeah.
Because you would have been dead 10, 20% after that. You love to see it.
Yeah.
And the reason he ran off there is at least in small part because, well, he was obviously like wrong about the distance and the timing and stuff, or made an execution error of some kind. But I think that was probably because the last one didn't kill. He wants the kill, and it got him a little tunnel vision, just a teeny bit. There, he's also throwing out fair a ton more, which is, again, it's a good move. It will kill you, so that's why he's doing it. But it's you being at this percent limits his options a lot. Okay, next question. This up air here, you get CC down tilted. This up air, is there an advantage to doing this up air over the down air?
No.
Okay.
The one advantage is if they don't ASDI down.
Gotcha.
In which case I can get a down air afterwards. But he ASDI'd down, so yeah.
Gotcha. I think it might be worth just not messing with that then.
Yeah, it's a lot better for me in that situation to just get the dare, because then I'm right next to them as they're in tumble, and I can basically get whatever combo continuation I want from there.
Right. Also, when you're at high percent, the risk of them CCing is really, really great. Also, the same kind of line of thought, right? he's been throwing these fares out all day. You survived one, especially if he realizes you survived it by like 10-20% and you healed 10-20 off his fireballs he didn't follow up on. He's itching for the kill. You killed him at 50. And he's very likely to still be going for that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things like, let him prove you wrong on what he's like, on the fact that he's going to have a lot of restraint in that way. Ooh, okay, that Nair is really, really good. This Nair is contesting that thing that happened right at the beginning of the set, where he kind of just, let me draw this real quick, where he would jump here, and then you would have to deal with, down air spinny spins, fireball. He has his like mobility during all of this as well. So especially when you preemptively do this Nair, he's in the corner, he can't back away from it. You hit him, and now all of a sudden, even if he has jump, he's at last stock, 100 off stage. He can come back. Oops, that's not gone. He ends up coming back because you can't, like, you have to pick against Mario close to ledge. But even like he had to make a decision that turned out to be right. If you can get someone to, if you can force someone to make decisions, then you can, especially in longer sets, like best of 5 sets, game 5 sets, the more decisions you can force someone to make, whether they're right or wrong, the more tired they're going to be. Especially the later in the day, because a lot of the PM events are single day due to the nature of the events. So if you're in top 16, Envy's been playing a lot already. Even if they're actually Blacklisted was Tuesday, but that's kind of an exception. Let's say you're in top whatever. The person, both of you have been playing all day. Maybe not a ton, but you've been ready to play the game all day. You have made a lot of choices all day. They've been mostly correct, which is why you're in top whatever. But fatigue is super real. Like, I think Sosa is one of the best players about this. Sosa will not use any more energy than he has to in low rounds. Like, he will just do the most simple Wario stuff. He won't think about if Waft will kill. He'll just hit Waft because, why not? He doesn't need to. In that same kind of line of thinking of like, oh, I don't need to go off stage and cape. I'm 3 stocks to 1 in game 1. I'm really ahead. Sosa doesn't need to use the energy in winners round 1 of his pool.
Yeah.
So he just does Wario stuff he's been doing for 6 years, and until proven wrong, he gets to conserve like 99% of the energy for top 32 or 16 or 8 or 2 or whatever the tournament is.
Yeah.
So in that same way, even though that's one reason why all of these fares come out. You just killed him for this, but he's still using forward air. These are all decisions. All of these are decisions that, oh, I know I died for this. I'm going to be safer with it, but I need this kill. And it's much easier. He's picking forward air instead of grab, instead of late dash attack, instead of down tilt. He's picking forward air here because he keeps mobility. And in this case, he picks something that's correct. But even after all of that, and he gets the kill, that is still a tiring thing to go through against really good players. So when we fast forward a little bit to here, when it's on last stock, partially because he is on last stock and you're not, he's starting to have to take more risks. Forward air will kill on bad DI for sure here, but he's having to make a decision, is it worth going for other setups? And this decision was a super risky one. He's getting rid of the shield drop, but you space your back air that you hit his feet, which is really, really, really well spaced as you rise into him, and it punishes his decision before he can even make it. He made the decision to shield drop, probably back air, but he didn't get to even do it. So the longer the game, the tournament goes on, the more, I don't want to say like base level like instincts, but the more likely it is somebody kind of like falls into their own like headspace for a little bit of like, okay, I need to make a decision. Oh, what? Oh, crap. They're faster than I thought. Or, they just zone out for the briefest of moments. Or like getting the back air would send you off stage, but the risk is very, very high because he's at kill percent. I don't think I'd call that an incorrect decision he made, but it is a very risky one that I don't know if he knew he was making, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is also a very interesting pick. I think it's a really interesting pick from Kevin here, because he's using that vertical space really well. So really good use of CC and spot dodge here. Because keeping him honest on this, kind of the same way like you said with dare grab, you can keep Mario honest in that same way, is really important. Also, this, I really, really like this fire. You realize, okay, Fair would be pushing it, because between the turnaround and everything like that. So you just cut off his option, and then you try to punish his landing.
Yeah.
There's, again, we see that you're getting a lot of mileage out of that rise up nair when he's in the corner.
I do that nair versus everyone. I just love it in general because Ness has enough good drift out of his DJC right afterwards, as well as like the stall from Magnet. So like even if that nair misses, oftentimes I'm not in the worst situation in the world.
Yeah.
Since oftentimes they're not even in position to punish it after.
Right. They can pressure, but they can't like kill you for it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think Kevin's not really following up on his. Yeah, that was a missed wave dash. But I think between Kevin not following up super well on his fireballs, and you realizing like where you can safely absorb them, you're doing a really good job of like taking the margins back here. Okay, so this nair is. Okay, this sounds geeky. This nair is really interesting. He hasn't used nair a lot in this set, and it's kind of low reward. Because if you can just tech away, he can't directly cover it. He can just pressure you. But going for this nair, let me back up a little bit. He's trying to basically contest you as you come down. I think he's slightly mistiming it, but he's trying to like keep you on the ground, or at least punish you for being on the ground. Force you into shield even if his options after aren't great. Because you are being hard to pin down in the same way that he's hard to pin down. Because what he normally can do is use fireballs, but he's not capitalizing them on them quite well enough to stop you from absorbing them, or at least evading them without too much trouble. Something that's very interesting about kind of move choices is obviously you're very likely to pick a move choice that you think is going to beat what your opponent is doing. So, and you obviously know what you're going to do as an individual. So it can be very interesting seeing the dichotomy between what you think you're going to do and what your opponent thinks you're going to do. So here, he back airs like 6 times in a row, basically trying to wall you out because he thinks that you're going to approach him in the air. So he's preemptively doing these back airs to basically hit you out of the way. And it takes a few seconds of you not doing that for him to be like, okay, fine. So that's something he's on the lookout for. And I think, yeah, that's unfortunate. That was a bear to land, right?
That was one of those double jump, like, cancel, no impact lands.
Oh, yeah, because you were off stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as you see what your opponent is doing, that is a cheat sheet on what they think you're going to do. So like, let's say that fireball, right? He throws this fireball. He says, oh, she's too far away to approach. I can do this safely. He throws this fireball. This is the decision of, oh, she will be too far to approach. I can do this safely. Or maybe she won't jump and I can do this relatively safely. And he's wrong. So it can be you can get a lot of information that way. And then no jump. I like that you can go out there. You know that he can't get back. He can't pretend like he has a jump. Because at that point, he's going to like try to suicide cape you or something.
Yeah. That was honestly a pretty insane SDI behind me on that. That basically just killed me. On that first down tilt.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy. What was the one before then? Yeah, that wouldn't have been back throw. So that was just SDI. Dang. Yeah, good DI on the second up air. And then you just gotta guess, yeah.
Yeah.
At most, that's a 50-50. And then if you're wrong about, you just kill yourself and you feel real sad.
Yeah.
So it's at least a 51-49. Nobody wants to do that and just give their opponent the credit that they're going to like cape them or do something wild, and they just don't, or they miss it. Okay, so see this dash attack on that same topic of like, he's obviously trying to hit you where he thinks you'll be. He's trying to punish you for absorbing the fireball with his dash attack. He's wrong on the spacing, but not by a ton. So that's something to kind of keep in mind for... Sorry. So the spot... How many down tilts were between the spot dodge starting and the spot dodge ending? There's like... It's very funny just seeing Ness down tilt like... Or so the air dodge.
3,
4, 5.
5.
And that one hit meaty. That wasn't even like ASAP. Good lord. Okay, he takes away. But yeah, his options are can inform you of where he thinks you're going to be. And then in that same way, you can use that of like, you can have that information of like, oh, when he thinks really good wiggle out. That could have easily been death if you didn't wiggle out. In that same way, when you notice that, oh, when he thinks I'm going to jump it and he bears a lot, that can give you more precise information to work with of like, oh, let's say we're both at 150, right? I just need any hit. Maybe I run under and up smash on the bear. Something a little more specific for the option. Yeah, I think he got your wave land there. He called your movement out a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's fine. All right, so this is in any set, game 3, any version of game 3, last stock is really important. You've done a really consistent good job of DIing the backers away. This might be another reason why he's very grounded this set, because he gets down throw bear, which is 17%, and then you just leave. Like, that's a big difference. Okay, he grabs that, and now he can get to up air. Really, really good tech there. That tech was really important. And then up air.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, you could have DI'd that better.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's one of those things. It's just an optimization you can make. Survive a little longer. Because even on... I don't think there's a move you want to DI straight up there. You might not want to do like half DI if you're afraid of up air going into something else, but he's already kind of extended to get to this point. Because you up tilted so far away, DIing out here is a little safer because he's had to commit already so much to the run to hit. Like if he hit you with up air, he would have to hit like the tip here. So it's a little safer to DI away. You're also very high and at reasonably high percent. So you can get like up here where he can't really follow. If it's an up air at least. And then on FD, especially this high up, this DI kills you. So it becomes a kind of, well, if I'm going to get hit, you can guarantee you don't die in that sense, in that instance, if you DI away.
Okay.
DI can also be the same kind of thing as combo routes or decisions for edge guarding, where it's like, okay, if I'm up 3 stocks to 1, I don't need to perfectly guess what they're going to do. I can just pick the DI that doesn't end with me dead, unless they do something crazy.
Yeah.
So I think he's doing something here that is just a Mario habit of like, okay, that last game was a little scary. I just want to chill. I'm just going to throw some pills. Especially because he can CC fair and to get out of the way. So your main approaches over pills aren't going to be back facing unless they're really slow with like magnet turnaround. So he can just kind of safely just take the percent, just kind of do it, just kind of harass you with pills. That wiggle out was huge. I don't know what's his option, run up smash, but even if you don't get the option here, you almost get a punish on the spot dodge, which is really important. Same kind of deal with the DI decision here. You would have gotten out of up air here, and especially with the plat. This is a guess. You have to guess here. There's not like you will survive if you just DIN. But it is a moment to kind of keep in mind.
Okay.
Because some other characters can do that as well, where if you're wrong in the mix-up, you'll just die. Versus if you're right in the mix-up, well, excuse me, they might still be able to kill you, but it'd be hard.
Yeah.
There is a value, a lot of the time, to making, even if you're going to die either way, make people do the hard thing.
Yeah.
Like there, not the reason he DI'd straight up, but like, you mixed up his DI so you could kill him. If you had tried for something else just to get a guaranteed hit, there's no guarantee that it would have led to a kill. Nice dash dance. He's starting to forward air those a fair bit.
Yeah.
Soft nair. Oh, it wouldn't tumble. It surely wouldn't tumble. He only takes one hit off of it? Oh yeah, because or two, but yeah, and then you're behind him, so you're in that bad spot of like bear versus your nair, even if it trades, is not good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, more nails. That was a good optimization on his part. It's also one of those things that's like, there might be a world where you can get to the perfect corner and not die here, but it's off of a surprise reverse it, and I don't want to say not feasible, but it's not like it's not the first thing to look at.
Okay.
Plus, you still died at like 120 on Green Hill. Like, it's fine. Yeah, he kind of gets the early one. Okay. Good job saving your jump. That's really important. Getting in the front of him was also really huge here.
Mm-hmm.
So this backwards hitbox of up air, this hitbox is the scariest one, because if he falls with you, he could do it again. Versus here, if you get hit in front of him, you can go further away.
Yeah.
So that's a good kind of good way to position yourself. Good job positioning yourself in the less threatening area. And then tip man into fair. Even if it doesn't true combo, it's tighter and it's scary to try to intercept. Okay, you can see he's trying to punish your magnets on these pills, and he doesn't really found an answer yet. He ran a little too close that time. This time it just flat out on hitboxes just beat out dash attack because you were a little high.
Yeah.
In there, that was really, really good. Because this is a really big turning point in the set, because normally that's a kill, or at least you get back. Here you super kill him, like not even he couldn't even detect. And even if you're still at like 1 confirm into death %, he has to get the hit. And you've already killed him. Nice. You've already killed him for kind of fishing for forward air and hurt him a lot for it. So not only is that stock, but that's 50%. Just from, oh my god, that was 38%. Just from like him trying to clean up a kill that he should have gotten. Air quotes, should have gotten already.
Yeah.
Okay, so something I want to point out about this stock real quick. So you come off the plat, and at low %, fireballs are really good. They're usually just really good in general, but at low % especially, it's a very safe way to build % to get around CC, to get into tumble. A lot of good things. Also, you healing doesn't matter. So there's not as much of a risk, air quotes. He catches you on your approach here. Look at him. He does not throw a fireball, but he goes where he goes where he will. So that first jump convinced you, like, oh yeah, he can throw fireballs. And then you go to punish it.
And that leaves me really open, huh?
Yeah. And even if his punish isn't great, he does hit you for it, which is the more concerning thing long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get that trade, you get the tech chase, and you really convert off of this super well. But this is a moment where he says, I think I'm going to convince her I'm going to throw some fireballs. Especially because you were at... Yeah, you could have healed one of them too, so even more so. And then it seems like out of nowhere... Let me back this up a little more. It seems like out of nowhere, just weirdly specific call-out down air. This is not something he's been doing a ton. He's been doing it a little bit, but this one seems so confident. Like he knows exactly when to do it. And even if you're aware of this, let me back up a little more. Even if you're aware that he's baiting you here, and you want to intercept him, it can be hard because now that he knows that you know, he could be, he could fast fall his first jump, he could not. It becomes a large game of, game of chicken, a game of rock, paper, scissors, however you want to kind of visualize it. His choices, if he's aware that you are playing the game with him, his choices will have more meaning because they may be to trick you, as opposed to, that was really good. God damn. That SDI hurt him really bad, too. On this first back air. Looks like Falcon knee. No. Not like this. I'll take 60%. I will not do it like this. Yeah, that was...
Capes, yeah.
This is the first time he's really gone that far for the cape. And it's because you put the pressure... That was a really good meteor cancel, too. To make it ambiguous to ledge. This is because he has to. Like, there's actually no score in this layout, huh? I just noticed.
Yeah, this was the recording setup.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So because it's 2-1, he can end the set here, which is always gives you a little more confidence. If I just do my thing, there's nothing they can do. But also, it's last stock, pretty much last hit, with how Ness kind of like converted the staggers really well.
Got a lot there.
What's that?
Could you repeat what you're saying?
Oh, sure. So because even though the nerves here are higher than previously, like we haven't seen him come out here for this deep cape because he hasn't had to. That's in the first game when it came up. He was like 3 stocks to 1. He was very comfortable. It was game 1. He's all good. But here, not only do you have a game on him now, but it's last hit. And if you get the last hit, it's game 5. So the nerves are higher, and he has to take this risk. If he gets hit by this, he could easily, maybe not die, but like you get all your stage back. You get like 30%. This is higher. This is high risk in the sense that if he messes it up, he likely loses the game and has a game 5 situation where you have the momentum from the comeback.
Yeah.
So even though this is like, there's not really much you could do here aside from play that 50-50 and like really, of like, what side am I going to be on? But at that point, you have a physical orb on screen that says, she's going to die. Or you have some really, really funky angle that is like bizarre. That he can still cape too. It's very much, it's his game to lose, but he still has to go for this.
Yeah.
And that is a really good kind of like way to cap the set with that theme of, if he's comfortable, he wouldn't have to go. If he was very confident that he could beat you in neutral one more time, he wouldn't go for this. But he's not. So he has to. He has to cape you here. Because 1, you literally already have game. 2, you're on last stock. This game is very even. So he is that kind of perspective, like, okay, as Mario, I need to do this scary thing that I don't really want to do.
Yeah.
Even if there's nothing you as Ness can do about it. It's a kind of like vote of confidence in your abilities in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you have the numbers literally saying like, oh, she could definitely beat me. So I need to go take this thing that if I mess up, I might lose. Rather than just playing neutral or doing something safe and easy.
Yeah, totally. Definitely got this point. I think that's a good point to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's cover the Switch game real fast.
Yeah. I was doing a lot of the same magnet stuff I was doing versus the Doctor, but one big difference between the Doctor and Switch is that while Doctor was using the pills to pressure my mags a bit more if I tried to absorb, as you mentioned, Switch wasn't really doing that. Like, I think that it's something that I should probably watch for depending on who I play, but I haven't rewatched the set too much, but from what I remember, I think that he only punished me for magging, like, once. Where he, like, followed up the laser with a, full momentum short hop forward nair and to shine. And just took all the space.
Gotcha.
So that's what I remember from this set, compared to the last one.
I think the big thing I want to look for in this set is, as you said, kind of magnet. And not to rag on Kyle, but like, how much was this him being a little rusty and like I don't want to mess with it, or was this you punishing him for trying? And that's something that we can kind of take a look at. I want to look at that. I want to look at your edge guards as well, and then, I mean, the punish tree not only better than I do, but like me saying, "Hey, you should up throw" is not helpful. Hey, Kuma, I don't know if you've noticed, but up throw is a good move against Wolf.
Absolute surprise to me. I've been forward throwing all my combos.
And that kills too. my favorite clip in all of PM, or at least silly clip in all of PM, is I forget even the players, but it's a Ness. That's a weird punish. It's a Ness forward throwing Game & Watch at 0 on the edge of battlefield, and Game & Watch was DIing so far out and down that they cannot make it back on stage. They actually just die. The forward throw at 0.
It's actually like such a good thing specifically versus Sheik and Marth on ledge, because they're fast enough to where they can't actually react to the forward throw. So if they like DI out expecting the down throw, I just take the stock at like 10.
It's kind of a Zelda thing though,
cool.
where down throw is so slow that you really shouldn't DI away by default because F throw, but
Yeah.
it's that's their problem.
It's just a fun like knowledge check.
Yeah.
Anyways, this set.
Yeah, there's that up throw. Like I was saying, yeah, you need to up throw more. But yeah, he's definitely aware that you're punishable after you absorb projectile. Especially it's a spacey thing too with the reflector. Well, there he's shielded. I don't know. It's weird.
There was actually a point while we were talking about up throwing spacies where he was doing that thing where he was trying to pressure my option right after the magnet, but I just dared him and got like a pretty big punish. So that was the first example I saw of that, and that makes sense why he's starting to go for the shields immediately.
Yeah, it's especially for characters that you like. Switch himself probably isn't super practiced in PM in general right now, and especially with a strange character like Ness. Like the weirder the character, the more you have to just let the opponent convince you they know how to do the thing, right? Like, don't play around Ness doing something super hard. Don't play around EX Fire being a 100% consistent thing until someone proves that they can do it 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just roll there. It's very fun. That's actually a very similar way you edgeguard spacies. That's I hadn't thought about it like that, but that roll is the spacey edgeguard roll. There's tech in place. Ooh, that's another get up in place. This is also very good, obviously very good for you since you're getting the hit, but these are, this is how it starts. Especially as if you're playing a spacey, this is the scary situation. Like, oh, I had the 2-stock lead, and now I have the 1-stock lead, and I think she's at lower percent than she was when I spawned. I think Magnet's very interesting, like, even if it's not great as a thing to heal directly, the threat of him not being able to punish it properly is enough to kind of get him to stop interacting with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were at least at 20 something earlier, and now he's thrown, I'm not saying mindless, but he's thrown lasers without, yeah. That was DI down here, I guess? It's weird.
Yeah.
Still, but that's, this is the part to turn it up, because not only have you been making the comeback, but it's also a spacey. So the spacey is absolutely thinking like, okay, don't get grabbed, don't get dared, don't get, like, the risk is at the forefront of their mind, especially during the comeback.
Yeah.
So it is. Ooh, nice.
I almost messed that angle up really bad.
I couldn't play Ness if you paid me. Like, I could never. Like, I'd rather recover with Falcon than recover with Ness. It's just scary. There's another tech in place there from Switch, and then DI mix up on the fire. Yeah, that's the comeback.
Yeah.
So because of that, something else. Ow! That's my hair. There we go. Something to kind of consider between games is how the previous game went, especially for stages. So you banned Wario and Metal Cavern. Switch is thinking, okay, I had a big lead. I died. What? Like I died to bear. I guess one was the fire mix-up. The other one was, what was it? Especially if it's like a minor tech error that you don't catch at the time. It's very easy to get caught in, like, why did I DI that away? Right? Like,
I think that was actually a situation where he was like in a tech role and was trying to tech away. I try and get a lot of mileage off of bears in those specific situations, whether they're already on the ground or if they're like right about to land on a platform, for example.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So the same kind of thing where maybe he didn't notice that. I didn't notice that. That's a really good like thing to do, to punish those tech rolls away, especially because if once you do that, if you make every tech roll a DI mix-up before it even happens, so you give them a lot more to think about.
Huh.
So if he just got reverse 3-stocked, his priority might be, well, obviously FD is probably a bad idea, but his priority is probably avoiding getting comboed to death. Because in neutral, he was doing a pretty good job. Beginning of the game, he was doing a pretty good job. So he might gravitate toward the bigger stages, the safer stages, maybe the comfort stage.
Yeah.
And the reverse is true, right? Like, if your punish game was super lacking, but you were winning neutral a ton, that's going to inform how you play game 2 and what stage you pick game 2 on. Here, if you don't mind, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try to go into 1.5 times speed.
Sure.
Partially because it's been a minute, and I appreciate you going over with me, but also because when you at higher speeds, it's a lot easier to see the kind of like macro of like, oh, you're trapped in the corner here for a long time. Because the
kind of like the heat
aren't...
map that we were talking about like last time.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. It's like, where do these interactions take place? Okay, you get the punish, he goes to the plat. It's whatever. The specifics matter a lot less, which is good and bad. So if you're trying to get a specific counterplay to laser, you probably want to watch it 1 time. But if you're trying to see that heat map of like, oh, okay, where is the match taking place? You can go back to Switch. Yeah. The first one, fair. That's a surprise. But Switch. He hasn't gone for side B either. I think he's playing really like safe and like uninteractive.
Yeah.
That's something you can use though, especially for kind of like old heads or like even melee players. If you can see that they're playing in such a way that like they're less likely to do something. Or actually, to kind of abstract it a little more, instead of making a box for Switch or for Wolf, we can make the Rusty box, right? The Rusty box might be rolls more frequently than normal. It might be does the character thing more frequently than normal because, the Firefox stalling at ledge into ledge dash is just something that's in your hands after 4 years, right?
Yeah.
The Rusty Nest thing might be not going for the weird angles. The Rusty Luigi thing might be like, oh, I'm not going to try like the voodoo drop, but I'll wave dash a lot still. Stuff like that. Especially with how kind of unique, in such a unique place PM is, we have a much higher concentration of Rusty and like, hey, why not players than a lot of other games.
Yeah.
Like, for example, this is weird too to say out loud, Switch has not gone for a side B except for that one recovery attempt. We are halfway through game 2 and he hasn't tried to side B. That is absolutely something he just like is just not messing with for now. At least in this game. Sure. Right. So again, to kind of get back on the heat map idea, a lot of what Switch is doing is just controlling the ground with the laser. But you've kind of convinced him that following his laser in is a bad idea, which is very funny.
Yeah.
Like he's running away from you, shooting the gun. He doesn't have an option. He's not doing anything. But that is significant control, though, is the point. That the gun is providing that significant horizontal control, and then he's trying to, if you go up to meet him if you're on the plats, he will try to basically shark you, but not like directly. He will shark you if you jump off the plats, but he won't mess with shield drops very much. Same thing. He's not going off stage to edgeguard you, partially because like up air, back air is precise, and up air isn't like super far.
Yeah.
Ooh, is that a kill? Not quite. So this kind of, we can see these patterns of a lot of tech in place, a lot of, we saw get up attack right there as well. In a kind of a meta sense, if you notice somebody has a very common habit, obviously you can use that habit for, like, let's say get up attack, right? If someone's get up attacking constantly, you can be like, oh, I'm going to punish get up attack. But at the same time, that also is kind of a hint, like, oh, they have this really common habit that they're not really, like, adjusting on tech habits. What if, you know, I wonder if there's probably another habit and they're neutral, or and they're a punish, or in something else, right? It's kind of a hint to, like, oh, there's a secret trap door around here somewhere, right? Oh my lord. Watching these in fast speed is just terrifying. There's so many characters I couldn't play competitively, just like mentally. I couldn't play a Spacey. I gotta play a lame super floaty who barely gets hurt. Oh no, not like this. Okay. That mistech was strange. You're doing a really good job of just beating him up, though, which is super important in the Spacey matchup, especially. Like, look at this. He's got to hit you, like, just to win the game. And he's still kind of shooting the gun, hoping you run into it, even like 6 minutes into game 2, where you haven't really. He's kind of just defaulting to his thing. Looks like the set takes a little longer, though, so... Okay. Yeah, speaking of defaulting to his thing, back to the comfort pick, that he, even though he just lost there. And like there, right? Again, for the heat map, right? You're close enough to bear, but he doesn't go for it. Okay, you missed the angle. That's all good. Okay, I think if he wins this game, the next game I'm going to play at normal speed.
He does win this game.
Okay. Do you remember if this game was... Actually, if he wins this game, that's probably definitely worth watching. You get the edge guard. Okay, so actually we were talking earlier in the emu sets. You do this thing actually here that you had mentioned. You hit him before, or you hit him during his tech here. And in this case, I think it seems like it was like you were trying to catch him before he landed, and it was very close. Yeah. But that's not like a decision you have to make, if that makes sense. You don't have to like execute perfectly on this up air. You can just, especially at this percent, you can landing dare, because landing dare is basic before tumble is basically your biggest combo extender, right? So it becomes this. You're making it harder than you. It's the first flash he's landed in. It was a tech error on a B reverse gun. The first flash he's attempted. Gosh. But because of that up air, you don't have to kind of get that super precise, oh, you know, if he techs. Because if he techs, you can just cover all of them on that plat. Another really good. That's a really good habit you're getting into, of that wiggle out. It's super powerful. Okay, there we go. Now, there we go. Forga. Let's go. It's just weird seeing Switch not go for side B. I'm not biased. Okay, that was the... Okay, I can't tell if it's framey or if I just was watching at 1.5 times speed now. So this was a good example of you had the right idea of kind of... Okay, that's like 4 frames. I'm doing frame by frame like 6 times to get the next shown frame. It's weird. You had the right idea of kind of like punishing the option, but in this case, you were just a little too slow with the horizontal getting there. If it helps, actually, for this match specifically, even if you're trying to actively punish this, it can help to be more aware of, like, be more ready for, like, oh, I think Switch is going to tech in place. Because he's teched in place. I don't think he's tech rolled, but like a handful of times so far. So maybe that might be easier to, even if you're going to try to react, to like prime yourself a little bit. Okay, he goes low. It's A-okay. And here, him shooting the gun constantly makes a lot of sense because he just wants the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, he caught you without a jump. A little too low. How's he get you here? Punish. I like how you get back on stage here. You get this fair, and then you just land. Like, you don't push it. Especially with the way he's been playing, the chances of him trying to actively like push on you were pretty low. Wait, was that a meteor canceled dare?
Yeah.
Oh, that's vile. That's disgusting, Anna.
Thank you. I actually learned it so long ago, but any character you can meteor, if you just like meteor right afterwards, then more often than not, they're still in the lag. And
Yeah,
Ness's double jump, while not fast, is really good for getting those precise hits right afterwards.
right.
And like stalling me right where they are.
Exactly, because you can even choose to rise with it if you want to just get the sour and air just to get something.
Yeah.
God, dare is so dumb. Yeah, I play an
We even
honest
saw.
character. If I wanted the meteor cancel dare, it would hit on like frame 19. Okay. Did you miss your? Where'd you lose your double jump? Oh
It wasn't me
no.
losing that. It was me trying to refresh ledge.
Oh, you have to jump a little bit before the magnet.
Yeah. After the first magnet, it no longer stalls as much, so you need to kind of get the B reverse or go a little, like, ledge jump B reverse mag to refresh or go a little high. And I think
Gotcha.
that messed me up there.
Gotcha. We saw that same jumping towards them in the corner in air. That's a really good good way to pressure them. Oh,
Yeah.
good follow up. Okay, I see. I was kind
He
of
didn't go
wondering
for the
how.
bear there.
Yeah, he's playing really conservatively. He didn't even press the button.
Yeah.
But I kind of see how like he won the game because his neutral is like really weird and safe, especially by Switch standards. So it's I was kind of wondering how he would get the kill, but then he got like 70% off of like on stage up airs. Like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
So from the flip side, what stage do you want here? Obviously banning FD. He banned
Yeah.
Fountain, which I guess
Surprised he
lasers.
banned Fountain. Huh.
If his focus is to shoot lasers and stay safe, Fountain's his shield rip aerials aren't really great for Fountain unless he can get Nair out, which is hard, and he's not in super great practice, so I can see why he
Yeah.
wouldn't want to do that. And then Ness is really good at like DJ seeing right above plat to Ness can always land on plat
Yeah.
like quickly, whereas other characters that don't have DJCs will have to like wait a little bit to fast fall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, push him off stage. Yeah, he's not punishing that.
Yeah.
It's weird. For how much he keeps lasering too. Like if he stopped lasering, I would kind of get it. But he just keeps lasering but not punishing it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. I think you did it earlier, but I really liked you triggered PK Fire off of the laser, which is very good. That's a very useful way to kind of like even if it doesn't hit anything, it's just a way to kind of put a hitbox out there and enforce, hey, I have a thing I can do about this that is safe and is a hassle.
Yeah.
Okay, back airs. Yeah, he's doing the safest thing he can. So something that might be worth there's Shine Flash. Something that might be worth kind of considering with the whole like the boxes idea is that even the same player, this a lot with like people that haven't played in a while or that are playing new characters. If this is the Switch box, like at least using my own personal examples, if I had to make a Switch box, my information would be 2019 because partially because quarantine particularly has kind of like confused everyone on their little timelines, but also because that's where I had the most time. So habit A, text in place a lot, habit C, habit D. These get outdated with time, and you have to update them. Sometimes within a set, if they're aware that they're mixing up their habits a lot. Sometimes also it's within the course of a few weeks. So if this is Switch 2019 box and the Switch 2021 box is different, it can be a little hard to do that in the moment if you're kind of I don't want to say idolizing them, but like for these players that we've watched so many VODs of for like so long, like the top players have been top players for years, it can be easy to kind of like, especially if we only see a few sets of them every few months, right? We don't see their locals a ton. It can be easy to be like, oh, this is the Switch box, and then you don't have that. You forget to kind of like date it. So without that little date, it's like, oh, this is the Switch box, and then when half of the stuff in here doesn't line up with what's actually happening on screen, whether it's rust or just like innovation, it can be a little jarring, and you gotta be a little careful with that. Because if this is the actual Switch box, the one in pink here, like, oh, there's some habits that are still the same, but he's a very different player, then you can kind of get stuck playing against someone who doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And that really makes it hard in the set to be like, well, why do they do this? And then and then when you see it, it can feel bad too. It's like, why was I expecting this? Why was I expecting this option so much? Well, because he did that all the time. He did that all the time here, but it wasn't on screen. It never came. So you wasted a lot of time and energy. Not a lot of time and energy. You wasted your focus looking for something like a really hard call out that just didn't really ever show up. Yeah, that's the case with Rusty players or with Melee players also. So like with None, right? I don't know for his specific. I don't know for his specific Falcon if he like what any of his habits or anything are, but like, you know, if you want to put him in good Melee player box, and then he starts doing like B reverses or something. Well, not Falcon, but you get my point. If he does something kind of weird, or PM specific, then it can very easily become a like, oh, you know, now it's a lot more jarring than if he had just if you see a Captain Falcon roar at you, that's fine, you know, whatever, noted. If you see a Melee Falcon roar at you, it's a lot easier to kind of get in your own head, be like, what? How much of PM do they know? It's like, it doesn't matter. They're playing the game.
I think another like really good example for that is specifically Falco. Like if I'm playing someone like Magi or Ginger or someone, and for some reason they're playing PM Falco and then they go for a B reverse lasers very frequently in neutral, it's like, wait, what? It's the same kind of thing, I think.
Yeah, Magi actually started with PM. Even she plays Link now, but still, it'd be a little less surprising. But I think that's a really, really good one. Falco's a very easy example. Was that like knockback stacking on that dare or something? That dare looked like it was the knockback on that was so slow. Am I crazy?
It looked pretty normal to me.
Okay, I'm crazy. Good Edgar, let's go. You take those. That's also another like rust box thing. If someone's missing their ledge dashes, especially maybe if they were like Peach or like a floaty, that's one thing. But for space season characters with really good ledge dashes, if they miss their ledge dashes, it's a big like wait. Something not necessarily a big switch thing, but something to note about Rust is that this is the second time this game he has done Nair, Drill, Shine Grab. And a lot of the times when players haven't played in a while, like they go back to those habits, both offensively and defensively, especially in those situations where the situation is similar a lot. Nair is always -5 because that's a landing hit. Shine will always beat Shield Grab if he does it right. Shine Grab will always beat Shield Grab if he does it right. You know, or whatever the tree is, there's not movement involved. Excuse me. So maybe like Wolf Shine out of Shield could punish Wolf Nair, but that's very much a minor thing, and you're gonna get that's not gonna show up in his habits unless he's playing like grand finals against the same matchup he has for years, like that level of just so much. Excuse me. Okay. Let's see. So how do you get this opening? Landing fair. He didn't CC the fair either. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm expecting just like up throw or like edge guard into death here. All right, that's something else I wanted to talk about for this matchup. The edge guards. Your edge guards have been really, really conservative. There haven't been a ton of great opportunities to go off stage, and Wolf can go lower than the other spaces, so it's harder. But like we were talking about, you can just like draw the line with forward air, and they die. Ooh, really, really good DI to and awareness for that fall off.
Thank you. Wait, I didn't realize this was last stock.
Yeah, he's going up there. Ooh, this is scary. I know this ends and this is scary. But it's like sometimes, like it's not a switch thing. But like sometimes when players are rusty, it almost looks like they aren't like seeing what's happening on screen. You absorbed this and got back to ledge, and he just keeps firing them. That's not the first time that's happened either.
Yeah.
But players that are rusty are slower to adapt. Is he still? Oh my lord! Hell yeah! All right. So I think big takeaway. Get that out of here. Oh, that's the river. Okay, I thought that was more blue. Big takeaway is the boxes can update with time. Sometimes even like during the course of a tournament. So like someone who played Sosa in winners at Shipwrecked is playing a different Sosa in losers because Sosa is now playing Pit in tournaments, and two, this is a position that Sosa might not be super. We don't have a lot of data on like losers bracket Sosa, right? Because he usually doesn't lose very much. Like what's the? I think Mango's probably the best example of like, oh yeah, losers bracket Mango's a different person or whatever. But it's there is especially for a more emotional player like Mango, more field player, there's a different vibe to losers bracket. So that comes across as like, or maybe even easier to do a Venn diagram, right? This is losers bracket Mango, winners bracket Mango, or this could be Sosa's Pit habits, Sosa's Wario habits. Sosa dash dance grabs with Pit so much. Partially because his down throws is really good. Obviously, his numbers for dash dance grabbing are a lot better than Wario, but it's like having to go back and if you can find the stuff that's the same between all of Sosa or all of your opponent or whatever, or like, oh, this is a habit that Switch has in 2021, even that I saw in 2019.
1 second.
Go ahead.
You just cut off a bunch there.
Gotcha. So if you can find the habits that are similar, so let's say this is 2019 Switch, and this is 2021 Switch. These habits in blue, in the middle, these are the ones that are really in their hands. They are deep habits that are take a lot of energy to actively change during the course of a set, let alone during the course of a tournament. So like in this example, we had tech in place. That's an E. Ugh. Tech in place was very, very common. We had some get up attacks as well. Maybe it'd be better to phrase this as a lack of tech rolls. But, hey, this is something to kind of... It will take him much longer to break this habit during the course of one set because it is so prevalent. And even if he's aware of it, it's hard to break at that point. So it can be very useful for characters, or for players that play different characters as well. So like, let's say we have Pit for Sosa, and then we have Wario. And it's a little easier because they're so very different to see what's similar, right?
Yeah.
But it's also very easy to get caught up in like, even if you're ready for it, being like, okay, I play against Wario, like A, B, C. If you fall into that against Pit, he's probably going to be ready for it. Because he sees this Venn diagram too. Whether this is, not rusty player, character A, character B, losers bracket, winners bracket, anything like that. This is the real area that you want to get those big reads that you can just keep recycling.
Okay.
Like I use the term cashed in sometimes for reads because there are sometimes that like, oh, I'm up 3 stocks to 1. I'm not going to punish him for this tech roll. I'm going to let them get away with teching in place a little much. Because that way, when I need it, when it's last stock, last game, or, when there's a high possibility of me losing and I need to make a big comeback, then I can go to the well of tech in place. And then between that, the momentum and the context of the situation, they're also less likely to deal with that abrupt change in an effective, healthy way quickly. So like, let's say if I'm four stalking somebody and I'm just let's say tech chasing somebody with Sheik, and I realize, oh, they always DI away, and I just keep down throwing them. They'll realize eventually, like, wait, I just DI away. Okay, great. I can do the thing now. But if I save that until a game where I need it, then they don't know. They don't know that I know that they DI the same. They only DI away from Sheik or something, right? It's a little bit of an optimization. The whole actively not using an opening, so it's not worth thinking about unless it is like that big 3 stock to 1 or the hue with a huge deficit in percents. But it's indicative that, as you play, when you hit somebody, you show them what they're doing wrong, or at the very least you show them what you're aware of by default. So like when the doctor is doing. He's red. He has a red hat. That's a boot. When the doctor is doing his dare in the corner, it's because he had conditioned you to expect the fireball. And then he got that dare in the corner, got 58%, got a good time. Got a combo started, got momentum. Also, got you thinking, oh, next time, am I going to jump up and try to meet what I expect to be a fireball? Because last time, you have the big 58% in here. You have the big surprise of oh, I got hit on my approach pretty specifically by something. So once that has been established, now the game of, it's the one, if you've ever seen The Princess Bride, it's that wine in front of me scene. It's like, one of these wines is poisoned. Turn around, I'll put it in front of one of us. Which wine is poisoned? Everyone fears death, so I'll put it in front of you. But you know that everyone fears death, so I'll put it in front of me. It's like, oh, I know that I got hit for 58% last time, but Kevin won't expect me to do it again then. Unless he does. Because he knows that I know that I got hit for 58%. And this is a very intense situation. And it's basically an Ouroboros. It's a decision tree that's eating its own tail.
Yeah.
And going in there forever isn't useful. But if you can kind of, usually there's only 4 levels. Like, let's say level 1 of, oh, I'll do the thing. Level 2, I'll do the thing that beats the thing. Level 3, I'll do the thing that beats the thing that beats the thing. Or I think it was with King of Evil, but level 1 is thing. Level 2 is counterplay. Level 2 is counterplay to the counterplay. And then level 4 or level 1 again is the thing. It might be a slightly different thing, but something that, because this is such a specific call out, usually more than one thing will beat this. Because so let's take the dare example. If you're going to run up and dare him, level 1, he's going to start daring you, just daring in the corner. And if you start daring in the corner, you could F smash him, maybe. That's maybe a little specific, but has the range for sure. You could, try a very high PK fire. You can find an answer to hit him for it. And once you do that, he might go to a different thing. He might just run up and dare you, or he might dare again. Not dare again. He has to go to something else, but he'll just go to something else. And there comes a point where eventually, when you're in the cycle with someone long enough, you and the opponent will try to skip cycles. So let's say it's game 5. Yeah. All game you've been having this game of oh, he dares in the corner, I beat his dare, I go back to daring in the corner, he dares in the corner, etc. Maybe when you really need that hard read, he dares in the corner once, the next time that situation comes up, you go for the counterplay for his thing for your anti-dare tactic. It's a way to screw with people and to try to basically catch them on oh, you thought this was a circle? No. This is a star chart. This is astrology. We're going every which way. We're not coloring by number. We're coloring by vibe. But yeah, that's a lot to say about it's a circle basically.
Yeah.
Okay, let's cover the envy set real quick, just because I know that you had that distraction, that dude. But the first 2 games, I think, have some interesting stuff in them. So, first off, CC's big in this matchup. Ike jab in general is, I don't want to say it's fake, but jab 3 can be not only just CC shielded, but directly interrupted if you're grounded. So there, jab 3 was fine because you're airborne and he can just guarantee it. But it becomes a very, good punish and then up B. It becomes a kind of like, you got to be CCing a little. That camera messed with me. You got to be CCing a little more actively on the ground, and part of that is habits. So if he has a habit of doing jab after bear on shield or something, it's a lot easier to be doing it proactively because you're ready for it.
Yeah.
It's also easier to be doing it against Ike because he doesn't have a lot of fast options that are good against CC. Like grab is normal speed, and it's a good move. Down tilt, I believe down tilt a meteor in the hilt, but it's kind of slow. His aerials are really good against CC because they're so strong, but again slow. So it becomes a kind of an educated guess on partially on player habits, partially on character ones, on when they're going to do something that's weak to CC. I think it's in game 2. I'll try to point it out when I bring it up, or when I see it. But there's very very clear specific moment of he's getting more off of jab, specifically threatening jab 2 than the character really should be. It kind of the same way that as Ness, you don't really enforce jab 3 because it's just not great.
Yeah.
The numbers on it aren't great. If you hit jab 3, cool. If you don't, you're getting hit by something else, which is stronger than jab 3. But in the same way, jab 1 into mix-up is still fine. Because if they CC, do something immediately... Oh yeah, that's right. I want to talk about that one. If they CC, do something immediately, then you might be able to either defend against it or otherwise... counterattack it if it's a little too slow. So here, this is a big risk about attacking Ike when you're a character without a great way to get down. You hit him at 40. He shield up aired you. This is not neutral, but it's not a combo. But you can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of just fair and hope he falls into it. That's a sorry. That's a really big kind of concern for characters that have big swords or really good sharking tools. Is that if you, even with a pretty solid dare, you have to be really careful of just swinging the sword.
Yeah.
Let's see. Man, Sour Bear actually has some pretty good growth. I can't believe that Ether beat that. Ether's a weird move.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Okay.
Mm.
I like your pressure string here. Because he DIs the down throw in to avoid the whole down air, mix up. You can get that magnet. And then you can enforce the jump away here. You can make him jump away or risk fair dare. So he does jump away. And then from here, he kind of falls down and you can pressure him. Especially with this nil. I don't think that was a nil specific, but the threat of the nil especially.
Yeah.
Here it is. So here, you've whiffed the grab and he spot dodged. And you don't have a fox up tilt or anything to hit behind you super fast. And also Ike is probably actionable a little bit before you here. Maybe even neutral. But here you get caught out of, I believe, jump squat. The jab 1, jab 2, jab 3. And because of that, he gets the dash attack, and then you're off stage at 100, and it's a bad time.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when you think you're going to be punished or even just pressured, it can be worth it to just hold down, because then you avoid these kind of weak. Even if this is kind of weak, it's his fastest option, and there's a big gap before his next one, like we were saying with down tilt or F tilt or up tilt. So making him, even if you still get hit by it, making him use his slower moves is going to let you get away with more stuff like the next time this happens, if you CC'd his jab into like shield grab, then the next time that you're in this situation, he's probably not going to jab, which means you have more time to dash away, to jump, to magnet, to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
In addition to physically not getting hit by the jab, of course, like that's a plus.
Yeah, totally.
That was really unfortunate that the third one doesn't hit. Okay, that is one downside of the waiting for tech, is that players, and you're aware of this because you've done this in like multiple games we've been watching today. Players will sometimes wiggle out if it's not entirely true. In this case, he actually accidentally rolled, so it worked out fine. But that is something to kind of be aware of, and I'd say it's one of those things like, let them prove that they'll do it, because it's just too much to worry about until you know that they'll do it. But from there, then you can start kind of formulating the counterplay, and because they're not hitting buttons, so even if it's not true, you can hit them with something, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then just throws.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's another one of those things, like, sometimes you just miss the DI. It's fine. Because that was also a very fast throw. It's like, even the best melee players in the world get hit by up throw rest. Because they just don't expect to get grabbed at all times of day. And even against Hunger Box, when they do, sometimes they don't do it fast enough.
Yeah.
Smash full, that's right. Okay. Okay, misses the run. You get out of that. That's good. There's the dare. He's been jumping out of those positions very frequently. Where you get the kind of the up air at low percent before it tumbles. So being able to bring him back down to the ground with a dare, and now he's cleanly in tumble percent for a lot of your moves, is really important. Nice angle. He could have gotten a pretty beefy punish if he didn't decide on F smash, but that was a decision he made for the high reward, especially because he was slightly down in percent at that point too. It's the same kind of deal of like it's not like a huge comeback he has to make, but it's something that he has decided the momentum would be very valuable.
Hmm.
I like waiting for the plot to get closer. I think that's a good call. That DJC gives you so much horizontal like momentum. That's a really good way to get down if you expend the resource. All right, Cottage movement. He goes to that plat a fair bit. It gives him those plats in general are a lot of characters that like being in the air like being on a plats because it's so close.
Yeah.
Run off, you can just that was really good. That was really good SDI, and also he was just really ready for it. Especially for that being the first time you really had like significant counterplay to the jab 3 possibility.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you hadn't shown that option before.
And he gets a stock off of it, basically.
Yeah, he gets that kind of like stagger situation into the stock. Actually, partially because you do the same thing that he was doing earlier with the wiggle out. If you tech here, I think you land right before it comes out, and he can chase you for sure, but you might need to like shield. There might actually be empty landing lag that you get punished for during that. That'd be precise, but possible. That's one reason why I think that jab situation right there, why I think that CC is a little more consistent, because even if he's looking for it, CC just means that you're actionable. Especially with jab combos, right? It's, oh my god, you can feel how much he wants to lead. Like, this is a really good argument for like you're even able to chase his techs really well, or his rolls really well here. So this is a really good argument for him not wanting to be next to you. When I say that, I mean that means that in the games he is going to not intentionally put himself in those positions. Nice. This is one of the ones that starts behind him, which is really nice. Actually, a little off on the punish, but you're getting a ton of mileage out of that nair. That's a really good angle to cover.
No.
Yep, just the teeniest little down tilt. That's like down tilt's one of those moves you can technically just CC, I believe, just forever. But using it in that way, kind of like Ike forward throw at high percent, right? Using it in that way is more of a check because they're not, or like a puff up throw where they're not going to be ready for it. Okay, I really like the way you pressure him when he's trying to pressure you at ledge here, because he has to be airborne to really do it. So you can, especially with a tournament winner or DJC stuff, you can really just make it hurt. Thank you, Balloon. Ooh. So this is a really big opportunity here. It's a weird situation. So I don't blame you for not being able to take advantage of it, but like he's dead here. There's nothing he can do. He doesn't have jump. He's Ike. If you knock him away with, so here if you bear, you can bear him twice and then just toss a fair into his side B path at that spacing where like here's ledge, right? If he starts charging side B here, all you have to do is just jump at him, fair, and he dies. Because he doesn't have the time to recharge all that side B. And then if you go out there to meet him when you fair him, he can't get close enough for up B. But yeah, like I was saying, this one's a weird situation. So it's not it is technically a missed opportunity, but it's weird. You're also like at 100, so going into shield's super safe when you don't know what the position's going to be. Yeah, see there with the pummel, you were ready for it, which is really good. Why do people not tech that? I'm really confused.
That's something that I thought of like pretty much when I came. I don't even know when. Sometime during the pandemic. But oftentimes, if I'm going for the immediate option, like a dare bear, oftentimes they're like straight up expecting me to go for the bear or the up air. And I just get that down air and just like catch them off guard since they can't really react to it. Just kind of like cover it. It works like surprisingly often for what you'd expect.
I mean, I'm glad it works, and I definitely can see why it works. It kind of just strikes me as like Game Watch down throw, where it's like you can just tech, and if it doesn't come out, you're fine. Because there's nothing else Ness has at that angle that will make you tech. He can't send you down significantly without dare, and dare
the
only
only
has
thing
the
that
one timing. Go ahead.
Never mind.
Gotcha. All right, so going to Dreamland. Yeah, this makes sense. I think this is definitely a stage for Ike.
Yeah.
Especially in the matchup. Good news is, though, you're living those. And you can't do that again at this percent.
Yeah.
Stage. Oh, no! That's unfortunate.
It's this point where I start noticing him, by the way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That click with up to, that's interesting. I wonder if that was intentional. Probably not for a PK Fire, at least. Okay, that's A-okay. You take that every day of the week. Now you can enforce mix-ups going back to ledge. Okay, there's your opening. Did he have the landing lag thing there? Did he have the tumble landing? It skipped a little bit. Okay, you hit him with there. Yeah, he did. Okay.
He just landed directly. Yeah.
I see. I think that's better on hit than it is. Like you had mentioned earlier, dare to grab isn't true without that tilt in between. Okay. Ooh, so that's a good example of what I was just about to talk about, actually. So I was about to say, because you're behind here, especially on Dreamland, where you're not going to get those early kills, going for stuff like this, these mix-ups to get an advantage is really big. So this dare to like, instead of another dare or like an up air or something, you get that back air. And it won't kill him ever, but it'll get him here. That being said, I think you give up too much. You don't go for the edge guard here. When partially because in the context of this match, you kind of do need to. And also in the matchup in general, like if you just keep running, you can just send up the forward air like all the way down here. And then he still has jump, but now he has to worry about rising nair, rising fair. He has to worry about stuff. Versus here, you just seed ledge to him. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the previous game, where it's when the gap is so big, it's freeing because you don't have to worry about the risk on things because the risk long term is everything. You can stay more calm. You can tell he wanted to go for something, but he changed his mind like a coward.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. We're on the board. I said like a coward as if I'm not one, but I play Mewtwo and I'm still a coward. That's bad. And I know that it can be scary and kind of like difficult sometimes to get to the angles to like run off stage for these edgeguards, but it's super highly rewarding rather. Ooh, that's a really good spot. That PK fire was the best spot because you covered that option. He now has to up B because he's back turned. You still get your pressure. Yeah. Still, it's good that he showed that now. Like I was mentioning earlier, sometimes when you have a match that's like going really in your favor, you might not want to do stuff that's like reads, reads of like more ingrained habits. Even in these other matches, no one has really like contested you just getting to this spot.
Yeah.
And that happening here with these stock counts in this game is great. Because now Envy's been kind of to show you like, oh, I have to worry about that now. Cool, this was gone anyway, right? You can just stay calm, adapt that put that in the box, worry about that as you will, etc. Also, I know that's just more vulnerable than most characters when recovering, but this is a really good illustration of like, you don't have an option here. And yeah, he has fair, which is a lot, but when you can go out, this far from stage, you can even just hitting them lightly can be really, really damning. Right. Let's cover Green Hill Zone. I like that you're both grabbing after that at this point. Okay, yep, that's the back air thing. Also, that's really good awareness, not press after that. Even if you tumble out, or wiggle out, there's pressing there. Anything isn't really worth it. He's gonna get if back air tumbles, he's gonna hit you again. You've been doing that down throw up air a lot. Is dare not a consistent follow up from down throw if the DIOA?
Dare is, I believe.
Okay, I'd rather see because especially with how Envy's been getting out of this a lot. I'd rather see you do like down throw dare. Because the platform in this case helps him too, but he's been very willing to jump out, and it's been hard to kind of chase him into the air out of those down throw or low percent down throw situations. The tricky part is he's definitely also been hard to pin down in those weird scrambles with like post dare down tilt. Ooh, perfect. So yeah, you stalling there is because that's how the Dreamland game ended. So now he's off here. He's given up his edge guard. He's given up a lot of stage control. You actually hit him for might have been I don't think it was supposed to be a tournament winner, but either way, you hit him for it directly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right, Mr. Envy. There's some kill. He's still trying, even though he... Oh, I would have liked to see you either with forward air or down air here.
And on every other day of the week and versus any other player, I hit the down air.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think... Actually, he's high enough to where he can get on stage cleanly. Yeah, I think down air. He's likely to. Or he's. Ooh, nice.
Ah, that was a mess up on the bear.
It's all good. That was the. That was the part that'll be relatively consistent compared to the rest. But like getting this opening in the first point's the big part. Because this is nasty. This is vile what you've done here. You may notice you have been pushing him towards ledge. Here, he does not take an out of shield option. He is simply pushed off stage. And then ECBs give you the grounded still, but and then like the reverse hit bear, that's all the hard fancy stuff, and you already got that down. Good DI. He feints that he can do the same thing again. Yeah, so like see here, he's trying to CC down tilt. It's not really, especially with Ike, that's not fast enough. So that's a really good way to lock down, even if they are showing CC a lot. Okay. I like that you're staying so grounded here. This is a very big shakeup from how you've been playing previously. I assume it's because back throw is also a relevant kill option here. So he has to worry
back throw.
about... Go ahead.
Back throw and down tilt at this point.
Yeah, having both of those options ready increases the risk, the reward of staying grounded more than it normally is. Then up air, forward air. Okay, that worked, I guess. Waiting for plot to get out of the way. I dig it. I dig it. Okay, you call this bluff. Ooh, nice. That was a really good way to snipe the. Really good way to land the up air specifically. It's out of neutral. It's something that's a little stronger. He didn't CC it, but it's less of, he has less time to CC it. Whereas fair, he might react by the third hit, or even if he doesn't, it's not like a super bad position. Nice. I think reverse hit might have. He had like a few inches to the left here. I don't think it would have killed because he's not super close to the blast zone horizontally.
Yeah.
There you get that. And I know this is obviously like tournament point at this tournament stock at this point, but it is still that same kind of calm of like, or it can be that same kind of calm of like, okay, you either do what works or it doesn't, and that's kind of the end of it. And it's a little less stress. Well, I don't say less stressful, but it's a different kind of stress.
You just cut out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So because this is your tournament stock, because he's up to, this is loser's bracket, and this is your last stock. It is like a more extreme version of that kind of calm, when like, oh, either whatever I do is either going to work or I'm going to lose the tournament, and that's okay. Like it's a kind of finality that's a little easier to handle than at least for me, I think, at least easier to handle than like, okay, beginning of game one begins. Like, oh, what do you think could happen? I was like, oh, one of two things is going to happen, right? There's going to be a sick as hell comeback, or I'm just going to lose, But it kind of helps me that to kind of see it as like, even if my stock goes away and I lose the tournament, it's not the end. And simultaneously, to kind of like cheat the definition of that, until you die, it's not the end. So this one stock, like something really interesting about Smash is that this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter at all. Long term, like the only thing that matters, there's no like, okay, if time runs out, but this is PM. The only thing that matters is stock, like who loses their last stock. So you haven't lost your last stock, and neither is Envy. and he's lost less than you, and it'll be hard. But either you'll get a really cool comeback, or you'll lose, and that's fine. You know,
Mhm.
it's not a win-win in that regard. But like, if you do win, though, it's gonna have to be sick. Like, especially
Mhm.
with Nets, you're not gonna win by like fairing in place and like building 8% of the time safely. Like, no, you gotta go. You're gonna body them if you win. That always kind of helps me stay a little calm in those like later stock positions, especially because I play Mewtwo, right? So even from the other hand, when I'm getting bodied, when I have the advantage, like okay, but this has to be right. I play Mewtwo,
Yeah.
like they're having to read me so hard or stay so honest on these combos because I'm a super big floaty or a super
Mhm.
floaty specifically. But yeah, I think obviously the distraction makes the last half of this a little not null, but a little like skewed. But
I know that something that really tilted me this game, especially in conjunction with that, was that when Envy was on that first stock, there were like 6 or 7 bread and butter kill confirms that I missed in the span of like the 2 stocks that I lost. So like when I'm down 4 stocks to 3, and then when I'm down 4 stocks to 2, and then that really tilts me, and I don't like end up getting the stock until I get that call out on the side B at 200.
yeah, I mean we saw the same thing from the other's perspective when you were playing. Oh, that sucks. When you were playing against the doctor, you had that stock where let me get this to zoom out a little bit. It was on Fountain, and he goes for this fair that doesn't quite hit over here, and you just dare him at 50 and he dies. And then the majority
Yeah.
of his next stock, when you're at like 110, he's just launching out fares, launching out fares. You get like 80% before he hits you at all, let alone kills you. So I think it might help to consider that like just hey, you're gonna make mistakes sometimes. Sometimes you're gonna make mistakes on the kill confirms. Sometimes you're gonna make mistakes on 2 kill confirms in a row. Especially given the context, right? This is top 16. You just beat Switch, and you got somebody back there kind of like being disruptive. So you're not playing at your most stable. I don't want to say you're not playing at your
Yeah.
best, but like especially if you've already made a relatively large upset, like or had a really good game, like a big comeback or something. It's easy to kind of like burn up too much energy, either like emotionally or like mentally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So I think like yeah, if you would hit the kill confirms here, you would have had a better chance of winning for sure, like mathematically. But on the other hand, it's also like it's okay to just kind of like acknowledge that yeah, this was like a weird situation, and yeah, you made some mistakes, but not to beat yourself up over it, you know?
Yeah,
Because it's
I
not like
agree
it's
with
something you
that.
don't understand. Like right here, it's like oh, you got dare and you missed the sweet spot. Okay, I mean that's
Yeah.
you understand everything that happened right in there. You don't need me to break that down for you. You understand it better than I do. One, you were there. Two, you play Ness. Like here, you just back air a frame like a few frames too early. He gets caught. Like it's just a little mistake. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think and it's obviously I don't want to like make it seem like getting frustrated at these things is not valid, especially during the set. But it's the frustration doesn't serve a point, for the most part, at least. Like getting mad that you or getting annoyed or getting tilted that you miss dare to bear doesn't do anything.
Mhm.
It just makes envy more likely to win. Getting, however, kind of recognizing like okay, I missed dare to bear. Maybe he DI'd really far to the left. So maybe next time that situation comes up, I can just nair for coverage, and then like it might kill if he's DIing to the left again, or even just being able to like shake it off, just going like, yeah, I missed dare to bear. Okay,
Yeah.
and it's harder than I'm saying, but it's a really important skill.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So like on the same topic of like something that helped me is that phrase, "This is not the end," right? So like I'll miss the easiest shit in the world of like up throw at kill percent, right? Be like, wait, were they at? Damn it! And you know what? It's fine. It's not, the game's not over. It's not the end. There's still more. I still get to play more PM. I still get to make more
Yeah.
decisions. I still get more chances for victory. Whether I make them like with an action I take, whether they make a mistake and I can steal one. And it's like, it's not perfect, but it is, for me at least, it was like a little bit of a consolation in the moment. If it helps, also you can kind of look at it from their perspective, in that sense of like earlier, right? Kevin missed the fair, and then the entire stock he was fairing, and you've been, obviously you were there for that, and we pointed out like, hey, he's kind of getting a little linear here, a little one dimensional, a little easy to intercept. Yeah. So let's say maybe you miss Dare to Bear. Hey, at this point, the players you're playing against at this level are going to realize that and be like, oh, she missed Dare to Bear. She's going to be fishing for a kill most likely, because there is that, you know, when you miss that kill confirm, everyone missed kill confirms. You have those negative feelings, that frustration, that kind of impatience, especially if MV was noticing that the person in the crowd was also being really loud, disruptive. That's like a factor, right? That can amplify these things, right? That can maybe on the flip side, in a positive way, you know, if I get some rad kill confirm that barely kill, like the perfect percent it kills, up throw kills after like X like, oh, is it gonna kill? Whoa. Then maybe some people start getting hype. That's a multiplier in a different way. Like, oh, yeah, I feel good that I was correct on the percent. I didn't do too many pummels. You know, I got the grab successfully, like right when it mattered. You know, the crowd getting hype for that is a multiplier in that way. It doesn't have to be 2 times. That's a lot. But you get my point. Like,
yeah,
it's amplifier specifically.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have to be, but it is.
Yeah, and that's where my Blacklisted runs ends, basically.
Yeah.
Honestly, 13th at this tournament isn't something that is like still really good, but considering that this is coming off of 2 other tournaments where I got 13th, 17th, at this point it was like I was feeling like I was yearning for a bit more.
And that's okay. Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. And I feel like that's also how I feel going into Jailbreak literally a week later.
Single
and
digits.
Flying off.
Single digits.
Yeah, hopefully. Crossing my fingers.
Don't hurt your fingers. You play Ness. You have to be fast. That's all you got. That's another reason there's like 5 characters I could just never play. Like Ness, Lucas, Spacey's is one character, right? Spacey's.
Yeah.
Just because I can't always play fast. So having to do that is very. That's not like an amplifier, but that's, you know, you're gonna feel your nerves. You're gonna feel like any kind of like emotional frustration or anything like that a lot more, because yeah, your hands are really good at DJC fair. You know, your hands have magnet stuff subconsciously. You're good on that muscle memory, right? But when you're trying to actively be like, oh, okay, Envy's going to pick this option, which means I should do this, even if it's something you know, we'll do counterplay. That's wrong. It's the wrong color. Even if we do, oh, I should do this counterplay. That has to go to your hand. Your hands have to do that. Even if they've done it before, they're doing it at an intentional timing. It's like, if you ever think about tying your shoes, you feel like a moron because, like, I don't know how to tie my shoes anymore. But that's just because you don't think about it in that same way. So when you have to consciously think about even simple reads, about like, oh, I just need to back up an F smash. It's like, well, if there's something safer I could do, maybe we should do this or that. Like, it can get a little overwhelming when you have like outside factors, like top 16. I don't want to be 13th anymore. Someone's being loud and kind of obnoxious. You know, this individual game isn't going too hot. I missed my Dare Bear confirm. You know, would it be too much if I stay on the ground? Is it fishing if I go for down tilt and grab a lot? Like, would Envy expect it? You know, are my options at 0 on the ground better than my options 0 in the air? Like, you got a lot of stuff to think about. And then filter that through all of Ness's specific stuff you got to do. So, like, my point is, when it gets to be a little overwhelming, that's all cool. That's just part of the game. If the game wasn't overwhelming, it wouldn't be fun.
Agreed.
Like, that's one reason why, like, I get why people like golf. I don't get why people like watching golf tournaments. For the announcers, at least. Like, I get that not everyone wants to watch, like screaming on commentary. I think that's a bad thing for the most part. There's time and a place maybe, but for the most part, usually no. But, like, you have these people that are like, oh, yes, and he's broken the world record at this course. Great job. Now, back to the top of the third. Like, what? Are you not happy to be here? But that's why it's like that's why it's fun. That's why it's hard. That's why it's worth doing.
Agreed.
So I have taken enough of your time with existential thoughts about mentality. We got through the games, and I'm happy for myself.
That's good. I have so much time at the airport that this has taken up most of it, and that's really, really good.
Hell yeah.
So yeah.
My back.
I guess closing thoughts probably going into Jailbreak.
Yeah, I think... Let me actually check your pool again real quick.
Yeah. It's Bad Bully into Frost into Blue for my path.
Yes, so projected Bad Bully into Frost into Blue. We have... You said you're really comfortable with the Lucas matchup, which is great. Let's see. For Blue specifically, I don't know how he plays very much. I know he's really good at doubles, obviously, but he three-peated the last 3 big events in doubles with different teammates each time. Dude's a maniac.
I'm excited to fight him in Boring Man and doubles because right now the top 2 seeds are that team and then Misosa. I think it'll be a really cool doubles bracket.
Those are really interesting comps. Ness or... Huh. Top 4 is going to be fun. I'm going to have a fun time commentating that. Surely that's not a leak. Like, we got told that. If that's a leak, I'm sorry. But so from there, I think just maybe, like, watch some Blue sets, especially he's been playing a lot recently against a lot of players.
Yeah.
Just try to, I say that if you only can get one thing from that, just get comfy against Link, like the basic Link stuff, and then just try to get a feel for his uppies out of shield.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't only do them during kills, at kill percent. Sometimes he'll just do them at like mid percent to get off, as a get off me. And obviously that's a huge, huge opening.
Yeah, I was actually watching a few Blue sets before we started our set, and the first one was Pikmon Blue at Undertow because Pikmon might also be someone in my path, so I figured that might be nice. And then Twisty versus Blue literally the other week, or literally the other day, actually.
Mini listed.
Yeah, not mini listed, blacklisted straight up to make top 8.
Oh, a previous blacklisted. Oh, I gotcha.
No, literally this Sunday.
Oh, wait,
Twisty versus Blue.
was last week.
Could not get more recent.
There are too many tournaments. I called Shipwrecked Undertow and Riptide for like months. I still probably do. I thought Blacklisted was tomorrow.
Yeah, but I also got like a bunch of advice from Twisty as well, so I'm really trying to prepare as much as I can for that set.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest like general prep for Jailbreak, and this is obviously easier to say than to do, to just like have fun, just like stay calm. You know, don't get too in your own head about it.
Totally.
Because then it's not fun and you play worse. So it's like there's no reason to do that. Obviously, there's no reason to do it. It's like an emotion thing, but like that's the point. That's what emotions are. They're not reasons. They're feelings.
Yeah, 100%.
Just if that helps you kind of like step back and realize like, wait, no, I'm getting in my own head or whatever. I don't know anyone who plays their best when they're angry or like when they're not having a good day. So if only like statistically, you're much more likely to do well if you're having fun. Much more likely to do fun if you're having well.
Sense. So more likely to do fun when you're having well. I agree with that.
Can I say that?
Yeah.
Don't bully me, Anna.
It's all good.
If you clip that, I swear to God. But yeah, just like once you fly in, just try to relax, get some food with the homies, have fun.
Yeah.
That's actually one of my favorite things. Well, especially because I don't compete anymore, so of course one of my favorite things is playing like the day before with people who are competing and kind of helping them like de-stress. Like I before Undertow, god damn, before Shipwrecked, I was playing. I actually carpooled with SSK, the Kirby player from Houston, and we were just playing tons of friendlies beforehand because he was projected to play Nog for in his pool, and he was feeling shitty about it. Like he was feeling real bad.
Yeah.
And my Rob and my DK are really bad. My Ivysaur was okay, but like I can't really give him that experience at least decently. So we just played for like 3 hours, and it helped him a lot. Just like feeling better.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, when you're playing,
Yeah.
you can't really focus on like the what ifs because then you can't play. And playing is a lot
Yeah.
more fun than
Agreed.
focusing the what ifs. So do that.
Yeah. Also
Just
agreed.
do that. Obviously. Have you not
Yeah.
simply tried winning?
Of course. I should just not drop any games and then I just win the tournament.
Yeah, I mean
It's just that simple.
yeah. If you don't lose, you win. That,
Yeah.
that sounds like that Ricky Bobby quote. If you're not first, you're last. If you're not last, you're first. All right, let's go ahead and call it. You probably
Yeah.
want a little downtime before you board.
Yeah. It's probably gonna be like another 30 minutes. And also I really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry for holding you up on that.
Yeah. It's all good. I mean, I wanted to make the most out of the time that I had.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is
And
fiending. This
yeah.
was a wild request. I'm super here for it. But I was really surprised.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but I had not occurred to me before that this was like free time with free Wi-Fi. You know?
Yeah, pretty much. Just like hop on, get a lesson, and be fresh for the event.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty neat.
All right. I'll
But
be
yeah.
there Saturday. Like I'm helping set up, so I'll be there early too. If you want to say hi.
Yeah,
I'll do
sounds
my
good. I'll
best to
see you this
like
weekend.
catch people, but I'll be commentating and generally just floating. So I don't know.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll try and catch you myself if we can, because I do want to meet up with you in person.
Hell yeah.
Especially since we missed that shipwrecked.
Yeah, I love being able to camp out on commentary for Shipwrecked, but the only 30 minutes I wasn't on commentary was right after set with Greeley, and it was like, wait, I didn't see you. I saw Greeley looking sad, and I was like, maybe just some space.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Anyways.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to call the stream. Goodbye, stream.